Star Wars Day, everyone. Today is also my birthday. And because it's my birthday, I get to introduce you to my girlfriend, who is amazing. Happy Star Wars Day, everyone. Today is also my birthday. And because it's my birthday, I get to introduce you to my girlfriend, who is amazing. Today is also my birthday. And because it's my birthday, today is also my birthday.
Marcus, you don't want to do this. Let her go.
My girlfriend.
Breaking news, a man is currently holding his girlfriend hostage. Police are outside of his home waiting negotiation terms.
This is Rover 2L2, Eye in the Sky. We have visual on target. I repeat, we have visual on target.
Hi, we are live in front of the home where a woman is being held hostage.
News, a man is currently holding his girlfriend hostage. Police are outside of
my fellow Americans. I know we are all aware of the current market situation developing. I want to assure you I have my top FBI agent on the case. My fellow Americans. I know we are all aware of the current market situation developing. I want to assure you I have my top FBI agent on the case.
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
He is considered to be armed and dangerous.
Hold your fire! He's surrendering peacefully. He's doing exactly what he's been told.
Happy Star Wars Day, everyone.
I thought that was funny. It took me a second to get it when I was first watching it, but then I was watching this. I was like, man. Internet's a funny place. It's a funny place. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Nierman, aka Good Logic. I feel as if my voice is like 75% of the way there. 75% of the way there. Thank God I'm not feeling under the weather anymore, but I am. My voice is still a little scratchy. Sounds a little scratchy to me. I don't know. That's what I got going on. I hope your day has been going well. The two main stories I got going on tonight are humiliation for Obama as his former chief counsel was basically left Goldman Sachs from being the head honcho from the legal team of Goldman Sachs, and has announced her resignation based on her extensive involvement with Epstein. Not so much from the evidence we've seen, so I want to be clear, not so much in the sexual proclivities, which were disturbing. No, there's not so much on that side of things, just that she was fully aware that this guy was a sick, depraved sexual predator, and she just treated him like Uncle Jeffy and was apologizing for him and was using him and his guidance of Guru Jeffy to help the Obama administration. This is true. This is almost indisputable fact at this point. It's tons of evidence that she was guiding Obama, and then the Obama administration was basically being guided by Jeffrey Epstein, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, because he had been convicted in 2008. It leads you to think, it really leads you to think that if Hillary had beaten Trump in 2016, he almost certainly would have continued in that capacity. May not have found himself on the wrong end of a rope in a prison cell in 2019. It's hard to imagine he would have been arrested, right? Only reason this guy's in the ground, if he is, only reason he's in the ground is because of Donald Trump. I think that's pretty safe to say. Not for Donald Trump, he'd still be walking around. So one more thing we should all be grateful to our president for. Also, speaking of Hillary Clinton, this woman cannot help but humiliate herself. And she had quite the humiliation when she was in Germany this week. So we're going to be talking about Obama's humiliation. We're going to be talking about Hillary's humiliation. We're definitely going to be covering both of those. And a lot more news, both coming out of Munich and from around the country from over this weekend. And that's all coming up. If you buckle up, sit tight over the next couple hours here on another episode of the following program. I hope that you sit back there. If you enjoy the content, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. These are very important things in order to enable me to continue going through my day in a peaceful and a happy mood. So if you could do that, it doesn't cost you anything. And I'd be most obliged. Plus, we also have a goal tonight. What? Hey, Don, tell everyone what they can win if we hit today's goal. Well, today's goal is a detailed breakdown of Epstein's foreign intelligence ties. This was shared with me by Richard Parker, a video which I went through, and I sat there digesting and absorbing, and we're going to go through this thing. It's a little bit of a piece. It's probably going to take me 45 minutes to an hour to go through it. It's not a short thing. It's not a short thing. And it's detailed, and you have to sort of hold brain for a bit there to really understand what Jeffrey Epstein was all about and how it is that he had his fingers everywhere in the globe and why he ended up becoming such an influential figure that he's advising Barack Obama's chief counsel. So we're gonna see all about that if we hit our goal. Tonight's goal, as always, is 15 super chats. The yellow ones are brighter. That's right. Yellow, red, pink. It could be $10. It could be orange. It could be $20. It could be pink, $50. It could be red, $100. But we get 15 of those, and they don't have to be in YouTube. It can be in Rumble. It could be in Digger Dollars. It could be someone hitting me up on Zelle. You can do it. You can do it. Respect. All good. It's all good. Wherever it comes in, that is where we're gonna go if we hit our goal. And one person who definitely wants to hit that goal and starting us off right is the man himself, Richard Parker, who was like, Joe, you really need to break this down. And I said, that seems like a good goal. Seems like a good goal. So there you go. If you want to catch that, please make sure. My take on that breakdown. Please make sure that help get us past the goal. Again, I don't care where it comes from. It can come from anywhere. It can come from you, Ghetto. I'm looking at you. Red Delta's complaining they need a new open. I was actually thinking about tweaking that thing. I really was. I was thinking recently about tweaking that thing. I like the tune. But I think I need to tweak it. I don't like the vid clips in there, but it seems like it's a lot of work to edit that, to be frank with you. But Richard did start us off right. That's correct. Anyhow, someone who never knows how to start their day off right is Jenna Griswold. We'll start with some news out first. We'll start with some news up front. Jenna Griswold. In case you're not familiar with who Jenna Griswold is, she's Secretary of State for the state of Colorado. State of Colorado. She was one leading the charge to try and get Trump off the ballot. So you know exactly where this deranged lunatic stands on anything. And yeah, she was facing some heat this weekend. And I look at this woman and I'm just like, I can't figure out what's wrong with her. There's definitely something wrong with her. And I mean like with her face. And I don't mean this as a looks thing. So none of you women get into a dander over this. I'm saying there's something just materially wrong with her face. I don't just mean a looks thing. Like it's like her face doesn't function the way human faces normally function. Anyway, here she is being asked one final question. I think it's from News Nation.
A final question. This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes that have...
Does she look like a woman who ever makes mistakes? Does she? I mean, aside from trying to match her scarf to her jacket. But aside from that, like on a perfect, does she look like the type of person who makes mistakes? Always looks like she's like got like some lemon drop candy that was just too sour that she's sucking on the back of her mouth there.
Damaged voters' confidence in our elections. In 2022, your office sent out mailers to 30,000 non-citizens inviting them to register to vote. They have...
Your office sent out 30,000 mailers inviting non-citizens to vote. Please come vote. Please come vote.
course, are not eligible to register to vote. That same year, your office used Colorado's ballot tracking system to send messages to specific Coloradans encouraging them to vote when, in fact, they had already voted.
Please vote again. We know you voted. Come on down. Jenna. She's the one who oversees Colorado's elections. She's the brains of the operation.
Causing confusion that had to be cleaned up by the county clerks. And now this leak of the voting system passwords. Given your...
Yeah, she leaked the voting system passwords. She did do this.
Office's repeated errors that have damaged confidence in our elections, which you say is paramount, will you resign?
Will you resign? That's always a great question. That's always a great question. This is not, to be fair, this is not your classic interview question. This is like almost, it almost feels like we're watching a moment from a House committee hearing. Like, the whole point is the build up to the question, not the response where you know she's going to say no. No, the whole point is to basically just pile on. Wow, you really, really suck at this.
Absolutely not, Kyle. And I just want to, you're unfair.
I reposted this saying that you could tell from the way her facial tics are going on here that she was considered too junior to get the good juice. Get the good juice. She got the bad juice.
Barely characterizing and leaving out some crucial information.
A final question. This is...
Wow. She looks like a pot of split when she's talking. She looks like she's trying to imitate a pot of split pea soup slowly coming to a boil. It's sort of like, I'm sorry. Sometimes I amuse myself. And that one just amused me. Brian Oldenkamp trying to push us along. Coming in here, not once, but twice. As is John Mosley. The folks need to know about Epstein. The people has got to know. Anyway, I found that clip. Honestly, I'm not even sure if it's really that new. Frankly, after hearing it now again for the second time, I'm thinking to myself, given the nature of the question about her password leaks is probably not new. But it's new in my timeline. Meaning, it's just so you know, I don't make this stuff up. This is something Wall Street Apes, who's a very trusted source for news, shared out today. So, yeah, I don't know what you want from me. Shared out President's Day, February 16th. But the nature of the question between you and me sounds kind of almost like he's talking about things that happened a while ago. Yeah. Anyhow, let's move along. To other news from around the world. In other news from around the world, Brandon Johnson doesn't care if American civilians in his community get butchered by illegal aliens. He just wants to move on.
Chicagoans that I talk to, that I communicate with, mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens.
He agrees. He nods. He nods in agreement.
They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens over them in their communities. And okay. Sadly,
William, let's get to the question.
Let's get to the question. We don't like this. Again, this is in my timeline now, even though frankly, see, this is what people do. It's from February 15th. I'm first noticing this here now, October 7th. Why am I getting this?
The real question is simply this.
Tell me why it is that people share this stuff out.
I don't know how to make it any more direct.
I'm
An
in
illegal
this.
alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side last week.
Question?
Bashed
He's asking
her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious. From Nicaragua, grabbed a woman on the north side last week.
Question?
bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to answer it. Thank you. Thanks, Glenn.
All right.
Would you want ICE to deport her?
All right.
To
Let's
deport that
move
woman?
on.
Yes or no?
Let's move on.
Answer the question as a man, not as mayor, but as a
All right.
man. Would you
Yeah,
want
thanks. Thank you.
ICE to deport?
People getting aggressive. People are getting aggressive. We should spend a few minutes talking about some of the different ice capades that have been going on. We should. I'm going to share a few of the different ice moments. Some basically, this is we're moving on to the segment here that I'm calling the ice losers. Let's check this out.
This isn't where I live. That's fine, but this isn't where I live.
Your parents still pay all your bills?
No.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
If my parents paid all my bills.
We just want to make sure.
Your parents pay. Getting trolled by ICE. Do your parents pay all your bills?
You got home.
This isn't where I live.
It's okay, Olivia. We appreciate it.
You can go talk to them.
Well,
See, we know who you are, Olivia.
This isn't where I live.
So if this is not where your vehicle's registered, you might want to look that up with their state.
It is, buddy. My address is correct on my ID and where my car is registered.
Okay.
Good try, though.
All right. Thanks, Olivia.
Thanks, Olivia.
Do you feel strong or what?
We're good. Have a great day, okay?
I'll keep following you, okay?
Oh, no, she doesn't care. It's right. No, come on. She doesn't care? She doesn't care. They never do.
They drove her. She was following them around, so they drove her home. Oh, that's funny.
How does it feel to be a race trader?
You know, we were trying to get a child molester, right?
No, you weren't.
Yeah. You don't know who we're going after.
Yes, we were.
How would you know?
Because it was a woman you talked to.
His wife.
And then his plate came back as murder.
Also, I just want to say, calling someone a race trader.
But you guys don't care.
I hope you realize that is the most racist thing you can say as a
Really
white woman.
Of course,
And
it
just
is.
so you know, this isn't a good look for you.
You think I care about my look.
No, oh no, no, trust me.
When you guys
it
are-
is evident by how you look, you don't care. We get that. Trust me.
It's not a good look for you. It's not a good look for you. See, you're stopping us from like basically going after the rapists and using and being all and acting like a racist, and you don't look good doing it in any way, shape, or form. Totally getting trolled by ICE here. This guy's funny.
As
Also,
murder.
I just want to say, calling someone a race trader.
But you guys don't care.
I hope you realize that is the most racist thing you can say as a white
incredible.
woman.
Of course,
And
it
just
is.
so you know, this isn't a good look for you.
You think I care about my look.
No, oh no, trust me.
When you guys
it
are-
is evident by how you look, you don't care. We get that. Trust me. No, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying this, trying to be a social warrior. If you actually cared, you probably would care about the child who got raped and also the person who got murdered by the person that we were looking for. But see, you don't care.
No, I don't care because you guys
Thank
try.
you. Thank you.
just try to detain legal immigrants. None of you actually give a shit.
Really?
If you were here to get illegal, violent immigrants off the street, that would be fine. That's not what you're doing.
It's not. No, hold on. It's okay. She
You
said
need to
it's
back
not.
up.
It's not.
It's not what you're
If you-
doing.
just so you know, if you were to spray that, you would be arrested.
That's fine.
Okay.
Don't come close to
Well,
me.
we're gonna tell you this. Stop following us.
No, it's
Oh,
not illegal.
So you don't want us to come close to you, but you keep riding our tail.
I have given you plenty of distance the entire time.
Okay, just so you know, if you do impede, I want you to hear this.
Me following you is not
If-
impeding.
if
I'm
you
well aware of my rights,
If you
buddy.
impede, you will be arrested.
I have not impeded.
I'm just letting you know.
What are you looking for, you fucking weirdo?
She put that in OC? That's right.
Yeah, she did. But
What are you looking for, you fucking weirdo?
I don't think they pay ICE enough. I don't think they pay him enough. I knew you guys would enjoy that. I knew you would enjoy that. Yeah. Figure you'd probably enjoy this too. This is one of these people continually screaming F ICE. One of the people who's continually screaming F ICE then gets arrested.
Student was arrested during an anti-ICE walkout at Enumclaw High School in Washington. In the video, she can be heard saying, "I want my mommy," as officers detain her. Reports state she was interfering with police arresting another protester.
It's so rough. It's so rough out there. So rough out there. We're gonna do this one also. All right. This is we'll start with two of these. I haven't even checked these out. These were shared with me. But these are related to each other. Greenlee Martinez, 17, said she was threatened with a taser during an ICE walkout protest in Round Rock. CBS has reached out to the Austin Police Department for a statement. Ooh, here she is.
I pulled out the taser on me and pulled it out like this and had threatened to take me to jail. I stood there and I was confused. Then I proceeded to continue saying, "Let go of her. Please let her go." So I saw that this innocent protester was getting arrested. I had seen her. She had been here for the time, and she had been nothing but sweet and nothing but kind. She had making sure that all of us.
They're all sweet and kind. They're all amazingly sweet and kind. It's amazing.
Were fed. All of us had water. All that we had needed. She made sure that no one needed first aid. She was just very peaceful. Had no threatening nature. I literally saw her crying of joy because she was so happy that all of us had come out here as a collective. And so I had seen her getting arrested, and that scared me because I've seen so many times on the news, time and time again, of police and ICE taking innocent protesters and arresting them for no reason, putting them in jail with no due process, or even hurting them, doing violent things, or even killing them, like that had been done to
Even
Renee
killing
Good
them.
and
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're hunting them down and killing them.
Alex Preddy, who were innocent people, innocent lives taken. So I saw that and I knew that it was wrong. All I had told them, I had no threatening words in my voice. I had no threatening words at all. All I told them was to stop. I said, "Why are you taking her?" All I said over and over, "Why are you taking her?" Because you have to have a probable cause to arrest someone if they are protesting, and there was none of the sort.
Okay, that's her story. And this is the actual footage, though. So let's see what the actual footage is.
We have a protest! We're protesting! We have the right to protest!
That's actually a lot of restraint. That's a lot of restraint because she's in their face. They're all so poisoned. They're all so poisoned. So poisoned. Yeah, we're very proud of you. We're very proud of you. She's being very sweet. She's being very sweet. Yeah, it's pepper spray. So get back. That's why you want to get back. Not because, like, you're sane, because that's not the reason. That's certainly not applicable here. All right. And we got... Let's talk about Reid Hoffman. No, we'll come back to Reid Hoffman. I'm going to save him for part of my Epstein thing. I'm going to save him for that. Definitely want to save him. Yeah, we'll come back to him. Let's go on to Munich. Let's cover Munich. That's what I want to do. All right. So this weekend was the Munich Security Conference, which is where the NATO nations get together and basically talk about developments over the past year and give a whole convention of different speeches and things of that nature, which we always send some American representative. This year we sent Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and other important people show up there. For one reason or another, on that list of people who are considered important people is an individual by the name of Hillary Clinton. Some of you may be too young to remember anything about who Hillary Clinton is, so allow me to just enlighten you in case you're unaware. Hillary Clinton is a former attorney who she still might technically have a law license. I don't know. That's possible. So she was an attorney from Arkansas. She became notorious because there's a video clip of her basically laughing about how she was defense counsel for a guy who raped children, and that she knew her guy was guilty and that he managed to beat a lie detector test. And she giggled about how that's the last time she ever would trust a lie detector test, because that was just, to her, funny as all get out. If you think that's the worst of her crimes, you don't really know much about Hillary Clinton. This woman, who happened to be married to a guy who would later become president of the United States by the name of Bill Clinton. So she was first lady, and during her time there, she was involved in, sadly for her, a scandal called the Whitewater scandal, which talked about various investments that she was involved in. And people started noticing also that bodies started piling up around this individual named Hillary Clinton. Well, anyhow, she became first lady by dint of her husband becoming president. This is in the late 90s, all the way up to, like, I guess January 20th, 2001. And she was tasked with during that time, she was tasked with overhauling our healthcare system, which was in shambles. It was a complete and total mess. And she put together a plan which failed miserably. And this was what was probably the first of many, many failures in public life that this woman had. Now, a lot of people take issue with her because she just has a natural resting bitch face, which is unparalleled in human history. Others take issue with her because she just leaves a wake of dead bodies of anyone who basically says anything terrible about her. Frankly, I felt like I told my security before I even began this segment. And others have issues with her because she's become someone who's famous for engaging in one scandal after another. I mean, there's just literally surrounded by scandal after scandal. After she left the White House, after her husband served his 2 terms there, they basically carpetbagged up to New York State, even though they're from Arkansas, and she basically became senator overnight. She just showed up there like, oh, yay, we love you, Hillary. She became a senator and served there, running for office for presidential office in 2008 and getting humiliated by Barack Obama in the process, when everyone thought she had to win. There's no way she wasn't going to win. She had various problems along the way, though, like the Clinton Foundation, because basically she and her husband went to Jeffrey Epstein. They're like, we just got out of the White House and we're dirt broke. We need to make some money. So how can we make some money? And Jeffy said, hey, look, why don't you come on out to Southeast Asia with me, Bill, and we'll have a good time there. We'll see what kind of what kind of trouble we can mess up. Maybe you'll visit my island a bunch of times, and we'll go hot jump skipping around there. And then meanwhile, I'll set you up financially. And he devises this plan saying, hey, let's invent something like a Clinton Foundation. That way people can just give lots of money to your foundation, which is going to have massive overhead, raise millions, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars, and never actually send any money to the purported beneficiaries. A whole scandal happened when there was a hurricane in Haiti that they were raising all sorts of money for, and Haiti's still waiting for that money, which that hurricane, as I believe, is more than 20 years ago. But they're still waiting for their money and holding out their breath for it. And no one else really thinks they're going to get it. But in Haiti, they're a little slow. So maybe they think they're going to get it there. Most people in the know don't think that any money is going to get it to Haiti from the Clinton Foundation. It's possible a few shekel got there. I don't want to say that $0 went there, because Lord knows she certainly love to sue anyone who says anything negative about her. She's willing to put them in the ground. She's willing to sue them. So yeah, I will go on record as saying, to the best of my knowledge, not anything significant ended up there. A lot of people were saying there was a big shortfall in the monies that came there. So beyond that, take that as you will. Then she became Secretary of State. So after she was a loser with healthcare, and then she was gifted basically becoming senator of a vacated spot in New York. She ended up running for election. Presidential nomination in 2008 was a complete and utter failure there, and she was a failure as a senator for New York. To this day, not one person can name a single accomplishment that she managed to notch in her belt as senator from New York. The biggest bill I think that she sponsored was something about renaming a post office. I mean, literally zero. This is a woman of zero accomplishments. She went to, I think, Yale Law School, which is top law school in the country. And her biggest accomplishment was being married to a guy who became president and philandered his way through his term there. And being so brave, putting on such a brave face, well, most assuredly scaring the bejesus out of him on a nightly basis. Anyhow. So she failed there, and then Obama ended up basically winning 2 terms. So then she ran for office again in 2016, and this time everyone was like, for sure she's going to win. There's no way she can lose. I mean, there's just no way. The first female president had a whole big phenomenal campaign saying, I'm with her, and she ended up basically losing. So she's a multiple-time loser. During her time, while Obama was there, she was Secretary of State, had yet another massive scandal. If you're counting so far, this is at least 3, and I'm sure I'm missing 1 or 2. This one being the Benghazi scandal, when there was basically a complete botch of how we handled operations in the Middle East and led to the death of 4 Americans who were and then she tried covering it up by claiming that it was just some sort of rally or something that went wrong, or some attack. I don't remember the whole story of Benghazi. Anyhow, there was Guantanamo. There's all sorts of problems with Hillary Clinton. All sorts of problems. So she disappeared. Everyone figured after 2016, we're done with her, right? We're done with her. This is it. This is the end. We're done with her. Well, that's 10 years ago, and the woman is still somehow invited to come to the Munich conference. And here she is at the Munich conference, and she doesn't, in case I forgot to mention this, because this is also relevant to the story, she doesn't really like Donald Trump very much. She really doesn't. They used to be friends. But she's not a big fan anymore. Ever since he ran against her in 2016, and she's kind of like loopy in her demented hatred of him. And well, here she is, being questioned about just that.
He has betrayed the West.
This is her, in case you're wondering, she is talking about Donald Trump here. He has betrayed the West. No one has ever found anything that Hillary Clinton cares about at all, aside from Hillary Clinton. It's possible she has a daughter named Chelsea. It's possible she has some regard for Chelsea and whatever offspring Chelsea has forgettably managed to pop out of her. But yeah, certainly not Bill, and certainly not you. She certainly doesn't care about you. I don't know what your name is, but if your name isn't Hillary Clinton, she doesn't care about you. But it's very important to her that she thinks that people still believe that she does care about you or America or the West. None of these are things that she ever held in any kind of regard other than trying to use it and leech as much power and money from it as she possibly could, while basically being a walking disaster. She also vacillates a lot in her political ideology, depending on what the polls say, because she has no values. She's just an empty suit who's desperate for power. And she's being afforded that power, at least the trappings of power, by appearing here. So here she is maligning someone who's actually rather accomplished as president, and that being President Donald Trump.
He has betrayed the West. He's betrayed human values. He's betrayed the NATO Charter, the Atlantic Charter, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
She's going to regret this.
A lot of what has been done before to try to make sense of how difficult it is to restrain people who want unaccountable power. And none of us in this room, including all of us on this panel, would choose to live under a regime that was so unaccountable that it could act with impunity the way that Putin does, except that's who Trump is modeling himself. I don't think.
None of us would choose. You're living under it now. You could have moved. Rosie O'Donnell moved. Why didn't you move? Why not? You're choosing to stay. You got the money. Why didn't you move? Well, that's not the question this gentleman's going to ask.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
You know, that is absolutely true, but I really...
Listen to her tone, because she sounds like a lunatic. Like she's off her meds kind of lunatic.
Not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world, and I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
What I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, you know, we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution.
What the hell happened? No. That's not. Oh, we just got started. No. What the hell is that? That will not do.
It's absolutely true, but I really, not only do I not like...
I want a better...
I think that the...
All right, sorry about that. Not sure how I got that one.
Will come out of it.
What I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, you know, we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
Which gender? Women having their rights? No.
Listen to her. Which gender? Women having their rights. I mean, everything about her has always been that she's fighting for women's rights. She's fighting for women's rights. That she doesn't give a damn about women. The only women she cares about is her and maybe Chelsea. That's the only two women on earth she gives the slightest damn about. But she likes to stand on this pedestal as if she's some champion and advocate for women's rights, which obviously he wasn't saying that, but you have to try and twist it like any crazy, any lunatic politician, that as if like he's basically saying he's against women's rights.
We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
Which gender? Women having their rights? No.
She thinks that's a zing. She sounds like a lunatic, and she thinks that's a zing.
Peter, go on.
I think there are two genders. So, but some of us think.
This is still whining that women don't have rights. Women don't have rights. Women have no rights. Yeah, ha, in your face, women. You have no rights. You can't vote. You have no rights. You're gonna work for free. That's the reality. It's stupid. Like, what are you? She's like she's living in 1847.
That there is more than two gender. I think there is male and female, and the rest probably is a social construct. So this is something that went too far.
But does that justify selling out the people of Ukraine who are on the front lines dying to save their freedom and their two genders, if that's what you're worried about?
Can I please finish my points?
Because you're still like just interrupting like a lunatic. And what the hell? This is like, now we're coming to Ukraine. Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm sorry that
she looks so unhinged. She looks so unhinged on the world stage. She looks unhinged. I'll tell you right now, she's not going to be back in Munich next year. I'll be shocked if she's back there next year. I'll be shocked because she looks unhinged. She looks like she looks damaged. She looks and sounds damaged, like a damaged person.
It makes you nervous. I'm really sorry for that.
It makes me nervous. It makes me
No, but seriously, can we let Peter finish, please? Can we let Peter finish, please?
You keep interrupting him. He's like, I don't know if you don't like this. Maybe it's making you nervous.
And the rest probably is a social construct. So this is something that went too far.
But does that justify selling out the people of Ukraine who are on the front lines dying to save their freedom and their two genders, if that's what you're worried about?
Can I please finish my points? I'm sorry that it makes you nervous. I'm really sorry for that.
It makes me nervous. It makes me
but seriously, can we let Peter finish, please? Can we let Peter finish, please?
I have to say one more thing. You said that Ukraine fights for our future and for our freedom. I think first, Ukraine fights for Ukraine's future, Ukraine's freedom, Ukraine's sovereignty and independence. So we should help them, of course. But what I see in some people in the West, they are trying to help the Ukraine. But that's another question.
And trust me, she's someone who is very accustomed to misusing helping other people. That's what she's made all her money from. All of it.
I don't know if Trump's administration is helping the Ukraine to stop the war. I believe that there is such an approach. I don't see any other.
She looks like she's fuming. She's so fuming.
Strong geopolitical player who would be able to force Russia to stop killing the Ukraine people and stop destroying their country. I don't see maybe China, but China makes nothing. I don't know if the pressure, if Trump is forcing Russia in the way that they will stop the war. I don't know. I only see that the only Americans right at the moment can make it. I see the dialogue.
Do you think Europe could put more?
Meaning only Trump can be the savior now. Only Trump. That's right. She is stewing. How dare you not recognize the greatness of me? I'm Hillary Clinton, for crying out loud. How dare you not recognize, testify.
More pressure on Russia, for example, by putting pressure on Turkey, by targeting the refineries of oil more, and so on.
I think Europe also makes some pressure. We release sanctions. We do what we can. But I think the Russians, they probably don't care. When I visited Ukraine, I saw the goodwill of all people in Ukraine. They were really united and willing to stop the war.
All right. So anyway, that was pretty much it. I'm telling you now, I don't think she's going back. I don't think they're going to invite her back. Like, why? What does she add? What does she add anywhere? Other than just Trump. He's destabilizing the West. Oh no, he's a tyrant. He's a dictator. Yeah, he's destabilizing. We shouldn't be living in it. He wants to be Putin. It's like the same old tired things. Even the Democrats aren't even really saying he's Putin anymore. They're so tired of saying that. But they just gotta like drag her saggy behind out to Germany for her to get up there. It's like squawking. Unbelievable. So let her humiliate herself. That's what she does. That is what she does. Let me catch up a couple chats here. These protesters, Kimmy's saying these protesters is always over-emotional, easily influenced women like Manson's girls, weak-minded, brainwashed. Yeah. This is why people say white women. This is why. This is why. Hillary is the original awful. True. True. As a affluent white female liberal. Yes, indeed. Phil Coggins coming on in here. We haven't sold out Ukraine. It's idiots like her who lead them down a primrose path of EU NATO membership, knowing Russia would go to war to prevent Ukraine from joining the EU NATO 100%. 100%. It's all these war hawks who are basically, we shouldn't even have NATO anymore. What the hell do we need NATO for? Who we joined against? You know, China ever goes to war, we can get on the phone with them. Oh, what the hell is happening here? NATO is such a stupid concept. The entire point of NATO was to fight the Cold War. Cold War has been over for 30 years, 35 years now. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I need to pause, and from my regularly scheduled stuff, I have more on Munich I want to share with you. There's more in Munich I want to share with you, but there's something I want to take care of, which I should have taken care of before. And this relates to a follower of the show. I don't know if she's watching tonight or not. And I meant to put this link in the description. I'm going to put it in now. In fact, there's actually 2 links I should be putting in there. There's 2 links I should be putting in. This relates to someone who's been a longtime viewer of this show. Her name is Adrian. And she is a brilliant and funny and amazing human being. And she is dealing with some serious health and financial struggles right now. In fact, let me put this. This is I'm going to put this at the top of my description. I don't know if I can get all of this into one thing. We'll see if I can. See if we get all this into one thing. Okay, good. So most of you may know, who are regulars here on the show, may know Adrian, as she is a beautiful woman who is a regular viewer here. She probably watches other channels together with you that I have of other attorneys. And unfortunately, she's having a little bit of a tough go of it. And I think it's appropriate for me to urge you, if you can, to help her out. That's her. She's a big fan of squirrels. So what Adrian writes here is medical emergency, about to lose electric in the home. My entire life I battled chronic illness with ebbs and flows, but always constant struggle. I have a genetic condition, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which complicates everything else I have: asthma, COPD, chronic respiratory failure, immunoinsufficiency, diabetes, fibromyalgia, neuropathy, arthritis, MCAS, craniocervical instability. There's a laundry list. CCI, AAI, and more. Sigh. Each day, bringing more challenges that feels like I'm climbing an uphill battle filled with brain fog, fatigue, and pain. I had to stop working a full-time job 10 years ago because I couldn't keep up and was just too sick to be out in the real world. My world had shrunk to just my house, only going out a few times a month for doctor's appointments or a rare family dinner. Afraid to venture out for fun or have anyone come to my house because being exposed to even a simple cold might mean my life. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. My immune system is not. What is this? Is not. Well, I'm sure if I have it smaller, maybe that's a little more. There it is. Here we go. I'm going to give her her proper due because I want to do what I can to help her. My immune system is not strong enough to risk it. A few months ago, my 80-year-old uncle was in the hospital, and I was afraid I wouldn't see him again, so I went to see him. He is fine-ish now, but 3 days later, I was sicker than I've been in years. I've been in the hospital multiple times in the last month, complete with 2 ambulance rides and more medication to supplement the 15 prescriptions I already take daily just to stay breathing and semi-functional. Over the past 2 months, I was able to consistently work my already extremely sorry, I was just sort of trying to do 2 things at once. My extremely part-time job that was really not enough to make ends meet, so I'm now facing foreclosure. My electric might be shut off any minute now for a lack of payment. I use an oxygen concentrator almost 24/7 right now to breathe and take nebulizer, breathing treatments multiple times a day. I'm a diabetic, insulin dependent, which requires refrigeration. And if my electric is shut off, I would be at best back being in the hospital, and at worst, I won't entertain the possibility. Medical bills keep coming every day. Credit cards maxed out. Trying to keep afloat. Anyway, saying that she just can't do this without help. I'm someone who hates to ask for help, but I am asking for your prayers, and if you can spare it some financial help. Every little bit would help, even if it's only just good to the next prescription. It's just one step and then another and another. I'm not giving up. I'm starting to feel discouraged. Thank you for taking the time to read this. I know God will send the help I need. Maybe part of that will come through you. Please keep me in your prayers as I'll pray for everyone who reads this. Thank you so very much. From the depths of my heart, Adrian. Yeah. So she's asking for $7,000 so far. She got $100. $7,000 for someone who's dealing with everything she's dealing with. Doesn't sound like it's a crazy high amount of money. I know her for only online. Obviously, I've never met her, but for probably 3 to 4 years now, at least 3, maybe 4. And she's just a beautiful person. And I know she's not going around asking for help because I'm the only one who's given her anything so far. So if you can help her out, what I'm saying is, no one knows anyone, but I'll tell you this much. I know her enough that I sent her money. And if you're able to help her out, that would be amazing. And she even has a different thing here where she is selling some beautiful artwork called Reflections of Studio. So if you're interested in purchasing some artwork, that's another way of, it's considered a charitable thing to help give someone a livelihood. So there's a whole assortment of selections and things of that nature that she is selling there. I have the links in my description. I'm going to post it in the chat. I'm going to have it pinned in the chat if you're interested in helping her out. I think that it's a really beautiful thing. And God will bless you for it. So that is now pinned in YouTube chat, and I'm going to pin it in the diggers also, in the ghetto also. I'll try and throw it into the description in over there. So she asked me if I could reach out for her, and as soon as as a general rule, I really try to avoid doing this. But I feel like I know her since I opened up shop here. And she's just a beautiful soul. So if you can help her out, That would be really cool of you. I want to get back to other people who are in Munich. Let me just catch up on some chats first that popped in here. Oh, that woman, that was Hillary Clinton. I gave a little bit of breakdown of who she was, and because I figured she hasn't been in the news in a very long time, so I figured a lot of people might not know who she was. But that's why I was like, I should give a primer for anyone like anyone's under 30 might not know who Hillary Clinton is. So that's why I figured I should give that background so you know. I left out the part of the story where she was possessed by the devil in her 20s and basically has decided to destroy the earth in any way she possibly can. That's not documented, but it seems evident based on everything we've seen from her. AOC put her stupidity on full display. She mocked Rubio on the Spanish Cowboys issue, saying everyone knows our Cowboys come from Mexico, failing to realize it was the Spanish who populated Mexico. That's AOC. AOC too. She said U.S. action in Venezuela shouldn't have happened since Venezuela is below the equator. Venezuela is actually above the equator. AOC 3. When asked if the U.S. would come to Taiwan's defense, AOC hemmed and hawed and stumbled over her words, never giving a coherent answer. I can give you a clip of that if you like. I can give you that clip.
Offer.
I think this is the clip right here. I believe.
And to all of you, and Congressman, I'll start with you, would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan?
So this is a woman who people think may be running for president in 3 years. 2 years. People think she may be running for president. So here she's being asked pretty basic policy question. Should we defend Taiwan from China? Should we commit troops for that?
If China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a,
I don't know. I wasn't expecting that question.
Today, Junior.
This is, of course, a very long-standing policy of the United States.
What's a long-standing policy? What are you talking about? What's a long-standing? What policy is long-standing related to defending Taiwan?
United States, and I think what we are hoping for is that
there is no long-standing policy of the United States that has anything to do with Taiwan.
we want to make sure that we never get to that point, and we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to
our economic research and global positions
avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
What? Wow. 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 Nothing she said there. Our economic research on whether we should send troops into Taiwan and our longstanding global policy, our longstanding policy, all that stuff. That was great. I appreciate you reminding me of that. The link to Gifts and Go is incomplete. Oh, dang it. I got it. I appreciate you guys. It's broken link. I'm getting that. Okay, hold on a second. Let me fix that. It is Adrian A. That's her thing. GiveSendGo.com, Adrian A. Where did I put it? What did I put? Did I screw that up? It's possible I did. And this one is... It should have worked. I'm going to try to fix that link here. Try to repin this. Right now it's working. Thank you for calling that to my attention. I'm going to fix it over in... Link in the ghetto is fine? Okay. Good. Thank you, Jacob. All right. Where's my favorite woman in the world when I need her? Liz, come out wherever you are. Come on, folks. Pot of gold waiting under this goal. It's pretty good video. It is pretty good video. It is a pretty good video. Anyway, so it wasn't just AOC there in embarrassing herself there in Munich. We also have one of the seditious six. That's right. Alyssa Slotkin. They'll just take anyone there.
I stand here as an American senator feeling very concerned about the 2026 elections in November.
This is something that in Munich they really need to know all about. They really need to know all about your feelings about the 2026 elections.
He is telling us what he wants to do. He is laying it out for us, and it is up to the Americans to believe him.
What?
Right? That just like in 2020, he said, if I don't win, then it wasn't a free and fair election.
Which he was right.
He is repeating the playbook, now threatening to put uniformed federal agents around polling locations.
He's putting ICE agents to make sure that we're not going to have illegal aliens. Why would you be worried? Why are there illegal aliens there? You should all feel like that's a day off. You should be happy if there are ICE agents there. You should be thrilled about that. Like, oh, it's a day for our it's a day for our neighbors to relax, because all the ICE agents are busy wasting their time in a place that there's no illegal aliens, like the polling station.
I mean, he's telling us the playbook. So the
You told us the playbook with your stupid, seditious commentary.
question is, what are we going to do as Americans to defend our democracy that we helped invent?
No, nope, nope, nope. You did not invent democracy. You didn't invent democracy, doofus. 2,500 years ago, Greece had democracy, doofus. We don't have democracy. We didn't invent democracy. Greece had democracy. Rome had democracy. Our founders saw what a failure democracy was and said, we don't want no freaking democracy because it's a loser. It's for losers. It's corrupt. It's evil. Now, I can understand why you're sitting here screaming that you like having democracies, because you like corruption and evilness. That's why. You're all about the democracy, because it's corruption and evil. It's immoral. Democracy is utterly immoral. 100% immoral. Democracy, simple, straight, pure democracy, basically means that the majority will rob and pillage the minority. So we don't have a democracy, a constitutional republic. And we certainly didn't invent democracy. Our founders rejected it, idiot.
Okay. And that, to me, that process that's going on right now, which is playing out in front of all of you, it's not like How
is it playing out in front of Germany or France? How's it playing out in front of you?
like coming here and talking to you about the difficulties in our own country. No one likes to do that.
Except you. You're doing it. Why are you doing this? Why would you be raising this here? You're such an embarrassment. God. What a walking embarrassment this idiot is.
It is playing out in front of you. And the question is, will the American people and when will the American people feel like the issues of democracy are actually not someone else's issues, their kitchen table issues? They affect my everyday life, my safety.
They do. That's why we need the Save America Act now, because the democratic element to our constitutional republic is important. That's why 80%. Why are you not following what 80% of Americans want, which is Save America Act? You care so much about democracy. Oh no, our democracy's on the line. Our democracy's on the line. Well, 80% of Americans agree. That's as democratic as you can get it, including the vast majority of Democrats. And we need to have a Save America Act in order to make sure that our democracy is secure. The democratic element to our constitutional republic is secure. That's what the people have voted. That's what people all say. You don't care about that, though, because you don't care about democracy. You don't care about his power.
My family, my security.
Loser. So you might have thought to yourself, oh, I assume that our domestic idiots, sort of table our private disputes when they go abroad. No. No, they're very proud of their stupidity in sharing things that have nothing to do with NATO security, sharing at a security conference. Idiot. Why the hell she's in Munich for a security conference is beyond me also. Maybe because she's an intelligence officer. She's doing everything she can to make America as unsecure as possible, telling our military to basically quit on us. Well, not everyone was terrible in Munich. There was one man who was actually amazing. Somebody who has come so far over the last 10 years from someone who I had almost no respect for to just, this guy has found his wheelhouse. I am referring, of course, to Marco Rubio.
For 5 centuries.
This is like such an impressive clip of him. And whatever you're doing, you need to stop for a moment and actually just listen to what he says, because he actually gives a history lesson here, which is insightful. Possibly even more insightful than my history lesson about that woman you never heard of named Hillary Clinton. This is actually information that many of you never considered before.
Before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contracting. Europe was in ruins. Half of it lived behind an iron curtain, and the rest looked like it would soon follow. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come. Against that backdrop, then as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end, and that our future was destined to be a faint and feeble echo of our past. But together, our predecessors recognized that decline was a choice, and it was a choice they refused to make. This is what we did together once before, and this is what President Trump and the United States want to do again now, together with you. And this is why we do not want our allies to be weak, because that makes us weaker. We want allies.
This is actually a very unifying speech. Instead of saying, we're the big boss in town, get used to it, he's actually saying, we want you to succeed. We're not looking to crush you. It helps us if you succeed. We want to see you do better, because right now you suck.
Who can defend themselves so that no adversary will ever be tempted to test our collective strength. This is why we do not want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. We want allies who are proud of their culture and of their heritage, who understand that we are heirs to the same great and noble civilization, and who together with us are willing and able to defend it. And this is why we do not want allies to rationalize the broken status quo rather than reckon with what is necessary to fix it. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history. What we want is a reinvigorated alliance that recognizes that what has ailed our societies is not just a set of bad policies, but a malaise of hopelessness and complacency. An alliance is what the alliance that we want is one that is not paralyzed into inaction by fear.
It's true on both an individual and on a global level. Hopelessness is the final stages of ruin. It really is. It's the final stages of ruin. It's like capitulation to destruction. That's what when they talk about the five stages of someone who deals with a terminal illness. The last one is acceptance, which I guess is a form of hopelessness. I guess it's it's a killer on a collective scale as well, not just on an individual scale.
Fear of climate change, fear of war, fear of technology. Instead, we want an alliance that boldly races into the future. And the only fear we have is the fear of the shame of not leaving our nations prouder, stronger, and wealthier for our children. An alliance ready to defend our people, to safeguard our interests, and to preserve the freedom of action that allows us to shape our own destiny. Not one that exists to operate a global welfare state and atone for the purported sins of past generations. An alliance that does not allow its power to be outsourced, constrained, or subordinated to systems beyond its control. One that does not depend on others for the critical necessities of its national life. And one that does not maintain the polite pretense that our way of life is just one among many, and that asks for permission before it acts. And above all, an alliance based on the recognition that we, the West, have inherited together. What we have inherited together is something that is unique and distinctive and irreplaceable, because this, after all, is the very foundation of the transatlantic bond.
Well said indeed. Well said indeed. So like I said, it wasn't a complete loss. Was not a complete loss. But Marco is climbing up in the ranks. She's definitely climbing up in the ranks. He is. Okay, start moving over. Actually, I got two more quick things here. I referenced when I was talking about Slotkin, the Save America Act. What's up with that? What with the Senate? Sitting before the Senate? Well, maybe we have some good news there. Maybe we have some good news before I move over to Epstein. Let's just cover this. Let's just cover this. Here is
about 83%.
Here's Chuck Schumer. Squinty Chuck Schumer. Basically ignoring what America wants with respect to our upcoming elections. Even Jake Tapper is like, you're losing the popular perspective here.
About 83% of the American people, including majority Democrats, support voter ID laws.
Well, yeah, the voter ID laws.
Yes, that's true. They do.
That first, each state can have its own voter ID laws, and some do and some don't. But secondly, what does
that have to do with the fact that we want to have voter ID laws everywhere? I don't care about the state of New Jersey having voter ID laws. I care about the state of Pennsylvania having it. I care about the state of Michigan having voter ID laws. I care about the state of Minnesota having voter ID laws. And Wisconsin. I care about New Mexico and Arizona having voter ID laws. I care about Georgia having voter ID laws. I care about California having voter ID laws. But what the hell is that? Some do, some don't. That's totally just sidestepping the question altogether.
Proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0.
You think that's a catchphrase? You could say Jim Crow 2.0. What the hell does that even mean?
They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law.
20 million Americans can't get beer? You really think that's true? 20 million Americans can't get beer? Oh, what kind of stupid statement is this? Are you insane?
We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail. It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
About 83.
Yeah. Everything wrong with this country. Let me summarize this. So that's what he's saying, is that this is DOA. Republicans, though, are hopeful that this thing might pass.
John Thune will bring the SAVE Act to the floor. And what about this standing so-called talking filibuster scenario? Will that be enough for you to pass the SAVE Act in the Senate now that you have 50 votes, thanks to Susan Collins' support over the weekend?
Susan Collins, the usually useless Susan Collins out of Maine, who loves siding with the Democrats, she now has joined on as a co-sponsor for the Save America Act. Okay.
Yeah, well, I want to first applaud Susan Collins for coming on board. That gives us the votes necessary to do it if we can get it to the floor. I think you know this. The American public are broadly in support of showing voter ID. It's a north of 80% issue for the American public. You've got to ask yourself, who are the Democrats in the Senate representing? Over 70% of Democrats want this, yet we won't have a single Democrat that will support it. Why is that? You look no further than what they tried to push forward about 5 years ago with their HR1, S1, the whole voting apparatus that they tried to come in and change to do away with voter ID across the nation, to enlist 16-year-olds to vote, felons to vote, using taxpayer dollars to support campaigns and, frankly, to pay their own candidates. So they're so detached from reality, it's just amazing. What the SAVE Act does is very simple. It simply requires what we require here in my home state of Tennessee. It codifies that to demonstrate that you are indeed an American citizen. In order to vote, you have to be qualified. And then when you go to the poll, you have to prove that you're yourself by showing an ID. That is not hard. That's not difficult. And it does not impinge on the state's constitutional abilities to set the time and manner and place of elections. It seems like it should be a no-brainer, but the reason that it's not is because the Democrats under the Biden administration flooded this country with tens of millions of illegal aliens. They want chaos in the elections. They want no voter ID. And so you've got to really ask yourselves, who do they represent? Why are they trying to do this? I think the American public is with us on this one. We're looking at the talking filibuster. It's something that has not been used in a long, long time. It's a complicated process, but I think we're going to look at every way we possibly can to get this to the floor, to defeat the Democrats' obstructionism and do something that makes common sense for Americans.
So what you're saying is that the Democrats' policies do not resonate with American citizens, so they want illegals to come in and support their policies. And you also said you are right now examining this talking filibuster?
Examining.
Yes, we're looking at it. We've gone through it as a conference.
Examining.
And now that we have Susan on board, I think we're going to be laser focused on this and any other method that we can utilize to get this onto the floor, because this is obviously something the American people want. I think what we'll have, if we actually implement it, is a higher turnout at elections, because people will have more confidence that the election of their vote is going to be sacred, it's going to be safe, and we're going to have voter integrity.
Yeah. Talking about it. They should do away with the filibuster altogether if they have any cojones. Just tell them, look, if you don't give us this one, we're going to take out the filibuster altogether. That's what they should do. That's what they should do. But you're dealing with John Thune. All right, let's start moving over to this. I want to be clear about something. As we start moving over to Epstein here. I don't know whether there was a report from Alex Jones that all of the files have been released, and then people saying no more were released. I don't know I don't know if there's still 3 million files out there or not. You saw, if you watched me last night, I was going through the various vid clips there, seeing if we could identify any of the pervy men who were hanging out with Epstein and are found in the Epstein files, and try to identify them. I don't know if there are other files that are out there. If there are I'm seeing mixed reports as to whether or not there's still millions of files out there. I also saw reports saying that Pam Bondi said she's not going to be releasing any more. You have what you have. That's it. So that right before I came live here. This is what they were saying over the weekend. Told detonation, the Epstein vault has just been blown wide open. Pam Bondi confirms DOJ has released everything under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, over 3.5 million pages. No more rumors, no more gatekeepers. The raw record is now in the open. High-profile names are scattered throughout the files. The establishment is scrambling because the public now has direct access to the source material. Promises of transparency were made. Now the data drop just hit like a seismic shockwave. Now comes the real question: who appears, who disappears, and what patterns emerge once the public starts digging? Search the files yourself and then get a link. What are you looking for first? And here, if you pull up the names, they have a list. The DOJ put together, this is one thing they definitely did over the weekend that we didn't have before the weekend, which is a list of the, I guess, these are supposed to be the big names from the list. So we'll just peruse that real quick. We'll peruse this list real quick, okay? Just to get like I'm probably gonna miss some names here. Alexander Acosta, that was the guy who prosecuted him and gave him a sweetheart deal. Miriam Adelson, Woody Allen, Gloria Allred, Prince Andrew, Arthur Guinness, Julian Assange. I don't know what to make out of this list. Audrey Strauss, Alec Baldwin, Ehud Barak, Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, we're going to talk a little bit about that, like what to make out of Steve Bannon and his relationship with Epstein, which seems a little uncomfortable. I want to get your thoughts as to what you think of Steve Bannon being on that list and how he's all over the place. Bill Barr, Beyonce, Jeff Bezos, Ashley Biden, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Hunter Biden. I don't even know what that means. Jill Biden, Ashley Biden. I don't know. Todd Blanche, Tony Blair, John Bolton, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Bono, Cory Booker. I don't even know what to make out of this list. Jean-Luc Brunel, John Brennan, George Bush Jr., George W. Bush, Jeb Bush, Dick Cheney, Fidel Castro, Noam Chomsky, Cher, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, Kurt Cobain. What? Kurt Cobain? What? Okay. James Comey, Maureen Comey, George Conway, David Copperfield, Bill Cosby. It does read like a who's who. Robert De Niro, Alan Dershowitz, Ron DeSantis, Princess Diana. Like, I don't know what to make out of a list that has Princess Diana on it. Phil Donahue, Barry Diller, Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. This is not the list that we were looking for. A list that has Queen Elizabeth II on it. I mean, I know some people hate her. Rahm Emanuel. Okay. Sarah Ferguson. Merrick Garland. Bill Gates. Melinda Gates. Lindsey Graham. Dan Goldman. Rudy Giuliani. Nikki Haley. Kamala Harris. Orrin Hatch. If I missed any names of significance, I apologize. Eric Holder. Mike Huckabee. Sarah Huckabee. Mick Jagger. Michael Jackson. Jay-Z. Pramila Jayapal. Pramila. Okay. Okay. That's page 1 of this 3 pages. Let's go on to page 2. You'll see the names only get weirder. Hakeem Jeffries, Hank Johnson, Alex Jones, Janis Joplin, John Kasich, RFK Jr., John Kerry, Ro Khanna. Hakeem Jeffries has been getting a little bit of heat because of how hard he's tried to get money from him and create ties with him, all while knowing he's a sex offender. Larry Kudlow, Jared Kushner, Jay Lefkowitz, Monica Lewinsky, Ted Lieu, Zoe Lofgren, Howard Lutnick, Loretta Lynch, Nancy Mace, Peter Mandelson, Ed Markey, Meghan Markle, Ghislaine Maxwell, Thomas Massey, Robert Maxwell, Theresa May, John McCain, Alyssa Milano, Robert Menendez, Mark Meadows, Steve Mnuchin, Lisa Monaco, Marilyn Monroe, What? Marilyn Monroe. You see her name on here, and I'm just like, what is this supposed to be a list of? What is this supposed to be a list of? Marilyn Monroe is dead. Is dead 60 years. What the hell is that? She's dead 60 years. So I don't know what to make out of this list. Rupert Murdoch, Elon Musk, Jerry Nadler, Larry Nassar, Barack Obama, Gavin Newsom, Benjamin Netanyahu, Michelle Obama, AOC, Rosie O'Donnell, Dr. Mehmet Oz, Ron Paul, Kash Patel, Stacey Plaskett, Mike Pompeo, Tony Podesta, Pope John Paul II, Elvis Presley. Yeah, he's on the list also. Elvis Presley's on the list. So is Lisa Marie and Samantha Power. J.B. Pritzker, Thomas Pritzker, Dan Quayle, Jamie Raskin, John Ratcliffe, Janet Reno, Susan Rice, Mitt Romney, Diana Ross, John Roth, Karl Rove, Marco Rubio, Kathleen Rumler. We're going to talk about her a lot. Paul Ryan, Pierre Salinger, Ben Sass, Adam Schiff, Amy Schumer, Chuck Schumer. Hey, is there a relationship between Amy Schumer and Chuck Schumer? I never even thought about that before. Are they related? Tim Scott, Jay Sekulow, Ben Shapiro, Jeff Sessions, Yitzhak Shamir, George Soros, Alex Soros, Edward Snowden, Kevin Spacey, Elliot Spitzer, Bruce Springsteen, Keir Starmer, Kenneth Starr, Barbara Streisand, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, Larry Summers, Eric Swalwell. Last one. Margaret Thatcher, Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Peter Thiel, Melania Trump, Ivanka Trump, Chris Tucker, Richard Walker, J.D. Vance, Kevin Warsh, Les Wexner, Michael Wolff, Ron Wyden, Paolo Zampoli, Jeff Zucker, and Mark Zuckerberg. What do you do with the list like this? What the heck? What is this worth? Oh, are they the second cousins? Thank you, Dr. Inder. What is this list? This list is worthless. Any list that's got on it Marilyn Monroe and Les Wexner indistinguishable for each other, it's like this is just useless. I guess you can look up these names, go through their search and see, where's Marilyn Monroe come up? Where's Margaret Thatcher come up? I guess you can do that. I guess it's a possibility. I don't know. So when I see this over here, which is basically this guy claiming that Pam Bondi sent unprecedented trap for Congress this week. Bondi gave unredacted timed access to Congress to search Epstein files, and every single search was recorded. This is like the big plan that Pam Bondi supposedly snapped on the Democrats. Every name, document, file opened or downloaded. They are effed and realized it when she pulled out a folder named Jayapal Premier's search history. Every search each member was panicking about recorded. So they apparently, a high-profile House Democrat is accusing Attorney General Pam Bondi of spying on her search history while she poured through Jeffrey Epstein-related documents. So Congress had an opportunity to go through the documents, and they would have these government computers so they could sort of pre-screen it. And apparently, when Pam Bondi was called before the House, she pulled out some of their search history there. And the thought is that they were searching for themselves. So this is what Jayapal Premier's search was. New Brazilian just arrived. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. What? This guy from Sulayem to Epstein. I love the torture video. Sickening. So they look at it as if this is some great trap. I don't think it's any kind of trap at all. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I mean, I hate the Democrats. I think that's pretty certainly established. So if they're searching for their own names, you probably searched for your own name when you were there also. Hey, what the hell does that even mean? Searching for their own.
John Thune.
We see how stupid some of the names on the list are. You're just like, I don't know what the heck is on this list. So, yeah, I don't think it's any kind of trap. I don't think it's any kind of exposure. I don't think it's any kind of anything. Oh, there was one name that I forgot to pull up there. I should have. That was this name right here. Right over here, Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman, who apparently is all over the Epstein list. Here's him freaking out. Reid Hoffman funded the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit against Trump because he cares about sexual abuse. Yeah, that's why. That's why I hear him talk about how he cares about it so much.
The team looked at it and thought that it was that her voice should be heard, that because she was challenging someone who's so much more wealthy and powerful, it shouldn't be squashed. And then,
or because it was 30 years old.
Providing that voice for, people who are otherwise would be ground down by the system or the powerful is, I think, a good thing.
This guy's waistline needs to be ground down by the system.
Obviously, especially in the case of women, and obviously, especially in the case of
he cares all about abuse
of sexual and other torture and attack and so providing that support was something that I felt very happy to do. The speaking truth to power and having a woman have her voice, having a chance to be heard and not squashed.
Yeah, that's what he cares about. He cares about women. Oh, he cares about women. It's not about going after Trump. It's about protecting women.
Through the legal courts because she didn't have the money to fully pursue it, I thought was a good thing for society.
It's a great thing for society. Yeah, you care about women.
Not just for her. And obviously, the point is that courts should go through their process, and the fact that the court found President Trump guilty doesn't surprise me.
It should, because it was insane. If you had any sort of legal background, it would shock you.
I think that one of the things we stand for as Americans is a rule of law and a good judiciary process. And
this was the exact opposite of that.
I think, I think it's a good showing about who Trump really is as a person.
You see, that's all you really cared about, is trying to make Trump look bad. It's not about women. The tell is always there. The tell is always there. Usually comes around its fourth course. And here is Reid Hoffman claims the FBI cleared me on Epstein. The files say other words. Reid Hoffman is now claiming the FBI cleared him of any wrongdoing related to Epstein. Here's him in 2016. In this email, Reid Hoffman is meeting with this guy. August will likely work. This is in March of 2016. May may be a common month, but we'll look. All of August, but if you give me a day in May, I'll gladly host you. And anyone else you'd like to bring, that's Jeffrey Epstein telling Reid Hoffman. I miss talking and seeing you. This is what Jeffrey Epstein said when he says, and Hoffman saying, when do you hang out in New Mexico? Come here, hang out with me. Come here, hang out with me. We'll have a good time together. Scum. So he cares all about the women. He cares so much about them. Oh, he's such a giving figure. Now, just this weekend, Trump came out and on his plane, he was talking about Jeffrey Epstein. So we'll just start off with this.
So Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you, and that your administration has something to hide. What's your response to that?
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know. They're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Do you think that she should publicly testify?
I've been totally exonerated on Epstein. And it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it. They've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in. Yeah.
So that was him talking about how he's been exonerated, which he has. Ed's saying, does she think Taiwan is does AOC think Taiwan is below the equator too? So we have no business intervening. Kelly saying, happy President's Day. Thank you so much. This year we should be celebrating President's Day, I guess, more loudly, considering we have the greatest president in our lifetimes. Think healthcare solutions. Next time you're thinking health, think healthcare solutions. Thank you for the bump, trying to push us toward our goal here. Aaron Troyer, thanks, Joe. Thanks, Brian, for the link. Sorry I missed so many minutes of the show. I hate everything about this Jeffrey Epstein debacle. I get that. Missing the point, the island has the fountain of youth on it. Apparently. Brian coming back in here. He's like, we are going to hit this goal. Not once, Brian, but twice. God bless you, brother. I'm going to give you the horn for that. I'm keeping score on you. Richard saying, Joe, the Constitution, when it references states controlling the rules of elections, it specifies the elections of representatives and senators. Does that create a loophole where feds control presidential elections? I think that I think the federal elections, they're saying the loophole that they're saying is that the plenary authority is on time, manner, place, but not on who's accepted. So if there's a yardstick, yeah, as far as admissibility, they can't decide that all of a sudden they're going to bring in. Think about this, while we say that the state's authority is plenary, there's a duty upon them to ensure that illegal aliens don't vote. They're not allowed to. Let's say California says we want our illegal aliens to vote. We want to give them a vote. So you're able to restrict them in that way. Once you're able to restrict them in that way, so in that case, if we can restrict states with respect to allowing illegal aliens to vote, it follows that uniform steps to ensure that illegal aliens don't vote is something that can also be prescribed by the federal government. So I don't think you need to come on to this loophole. It's good. It's an interesting thought, but I don't think you need to come on to it. The New Mexico ranch has never been searched. Really? That's interesting. Especially since Annie Farmer went there. That's weird. DOJ now has their secrets. Jeffrey Epstein was getting emails from FBI, Southern District of New York, Chiefs Daily Briefs that also get emails from G. Brown. Use the third link for Beelzebub and read Mayor info. Also search Black Bag. You sent me at least 3 super chats about this Beelzebub thing. I can't keep coming back to searching this thing every time, brother. I feel dirty every time. Every time I have to go here, like I just. You keep asking me to come back in here. I don't know where that Beelzebub. Last time I couldn't even find any Beelzebubs in here. I don't know if I'll be able to find it here now. Beelzebub. Third one. As many of you know, what is this? From Gregory Brown. I don't know who Gregory Brown is. Dear friend, as many of you know, I'm a huge fan of Bill D. Moyers, who's an American. This is what he sent to people from Gregory Brown to a lot of people. Undisclosed recipients plus Jeffrey Epstein. I'm a huge fan of Bill D. Moyers, who was an American journalist and liberal public commentator. He served as White House press secretary in the Johnson administration from 65 to 67. He also worked as network TV news commentator for For 10 years, Moyers has been extensively involved with public broadcasting, producing documentaries and news journal programs. He's won numerous awards and honorary degrees for his investigative journalism and civic activities. Well known as a trenchant critic of the U.S. media, particularly modern corporately structured news media, since 1990, Moyers has been president of the Schumann Center for Media and Democracy. Past decade, he has hosted a weekly social commentary television show, Moyers and Company on PBS. What are we getting? This just goes on and on and on. I don't. Read mayor info. Who's mayor? Moyer. I don't know what I don't know what you want me to do with this. I'm not going through this whole thing now. Look at how long this thing is. I don't know what you want me to do with this. There's a whole thing about American healthcare. What are you saying? The Moyer is everywhere here. I don't know what to do with this. The whole thing is a very long newsletter. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. Okay, I'm not going through this whole newsletter. I don't know what you want from me. Bill Maher. Am I in the right thing? Is this the right link you want me to look at? That was the right thing? What was I supposed to do with that? I don't know if I can search in this document. I doubt I can. I don't know what the point is. You've asked me 3 times. What about Michelle Bachmann? Yeah, I don't know. This is like going over my head. I have no idea. Okay. I've tried. I've legitimately tried. I have to move on. One $10 chat didn't go through, but charged me 14. What? We raised 885 so far. Keep going, Adrian. Really? Wow, you guys are amazing. Is that really true? I believe you. That is amazing. You guys are awesome. That is really great. That's really great. That's really great. Okay. So someone else who was in the Epstein list, should really check out what he's in there for, although I doubt he's anything serious, to be real with you, is Eric Swalwell, who is the queen of Trump derangement syndrome.
And also, by the way, the name that is listed the most in these files and talked
Because the most is in that they hate each other, so who cares?
about the most is Donald Trump. And of all the people that Jeffrey Epstein talked to in the world, and it looks like this guy got around, and there are millions of files, and Donald
Yeah, you met him after he was a sex offender. Trump cut off ties with him by the time he was declared a sex offender. That's the difference between you and Trump, jackass.
Trump's name is mentioned many, many times, up to 1 million. Some are speculating through the
Some are
searches.
speculating.
There's only one person that Jeffrey Epstein described as his best friend, and that's Donald Trump. But the effort since this summer, and I want to just walk you through the timeline, has been to avoid this at all costs.
No, it hasn't. He's the one who brought it to your attention. None of you wanted to talk about this. You're such a jackass.
On the Republican side, they refused to swear in Adelita Grijalva when she would have been the person that got the Epstein discharge over the goal line. During the summer, they were willing to shut down the government because they didn't want these files.
He's so angry.
And again,
he's so angry that they just exonerate Trump.
All of the files now, and many of
They're
them
so stupid.
are redacted.
How stupid are you? How could you not have realized this was going to exonerate
We're
him?
not going to work.
And certainly Trump's name has been in there quite
Listen to what CNN is forced to say in response to his stupid, baseless accusations.
a lot, and he has not been accused of any wrongdoing. But certainly it raises questions the way that this release has
Not been accused of any wrongdoing.
happened, as you noted, from the survivors themselves who have been on this show and have asked why it's being handled this way.
Well, they should have been asking, why didn't it come up during Obama's administration? Why didn't it come up during Biden's administration? Well, we know why it didn't come up during Obama's administration. That's because Obama's chief of counsel was getting her counsel from Jeffrey Epstein. I'm referring to Kathy Rumler. Hey.
Goldman Sachs chief legal officer Kathy Rumler is resigning.
We're going to talk about, now it's time for us to talk about Kathy Rumler. You might not remember her name, but she was chief counsel for Barack Obama, sitting in the White House with him all the time, besties with him.
After the latest batch of Epstein files sparked weeks of scrutiny.
She is now serving as chief counsel for Goldman Sachs in a job that is assuredly paying her 7 figures. And she was forced to resign because of the Epstein files.
About her close relationship with the convicted pedophile financier. The resignation marks one of the most high-profile impacts in the United States tied to the latest release of the Epstein files. Rumler is the top lawyer at the bank and a former White House counsel to President Barack Obama. She announced on Thursday night she would depart the bank on June 30th. CNN's K-File has extensively reported on Rumler's ties to Epstein for the past few months, as the government has released millions of pages of documents related to Epstein. Amid the hundreds of email exchanges between the two reviewed by CNN, they discussed Epstein's legal battles and reputational problems. There are also other more personal communications, including plans for a proposed trip to Epstein Island.
We take a day trip, fly you to the island.
And gifts he had given her. The files also showed how Rumler advised Epstein on lawsuits brought by his accusers and coordinated responses.
She was giving him advice on how to fight against the women accusers. That's Barack's chief legal counsel, his White House counsel, advising Jeffrey Epstein. This is how you can beat those accusers of yours, Jeffrey.
A journalist, including on a planned ABC News interview with one of Epstein's accusers that never aired. The files revealed numerous references to Rumler aiding Epstein during critical legal and reputational battles following his 2008 conviction for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Rumler at times discussed matters.
Which, bear in mind, he became a registered sex offender in July 2008. That's before Obama was even president. He wasn't elected until November of that year. So the entire time of the Obama administration, when she's talking to him, he's a registered sex offender. Everyone knows what he's done.
Personal life with Epstein, expressed gratitude for their friendship, and concluded messages with XO and XOXO.
XOXO. Love you, Jeffy. Love you.
Epstein's calendar listed dozens of planned lunches, dinners, and meetings from 2014 and 2019. In a statement Thursday night, Rumler said, "Since I joined Goldman Sachs 6 years ago, it has been my privilege to help oversee the firm's legal, reputational, and regulatory matters to enhance our strong risk management process and to ensure that we live by our core value of integrity in everything that we do. My responsibility is to put Goldman Sachs' interests first." Rumler has said for years that she had a professional relationship with Epstein.
That means that they're giving her a golden parachute and telling her, get the hell out.
During her time in private practice, calling him a business referral source with whom she shared a client. She has said that she didn't represent him or advocate for him to any third party.
Lies. Lies. You were giving him advice. Yeah, you weren't technically, legally his counsel.
And that Epstein reached out to her occasionally for informal legal advice.
Informal legal advice. XOXO. He buys her gifts. Countless lunches and dinners together. Coming to the islands. Helping her navigate through different legal issues herself. Different PR scandals. He's helping her. She's helping him. Probably sleeping together.
Responding to CNN's reporting, Robert Garcia, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, said he wants Rumler to answer questions as
She's probably too old for him.
part of its investigation into how the federal government and others handled Epstein's case and related files. A spokesperson for the committee said Rumler's resignation hasn't changed that. Now, a Rumler spokesperson previously told CNN, Miss Rumler has done nothing wrong and has nothing to hide. Nothing in the record suggests otherwise.
She has everything to be humiliated over. And that humiliation is for what she did, how she used him to help navigate PR scandals. When she was sitting there in the Obama administration, she turned to Jeff and she's like, what do we do with this scandal? We're going to see, we have a prostitute scandal that we're trying to figure out. And he's giving her advice on how to handle that scandal, how the Obama administration should be handling that scandal. He's guiding the Obama administration, Jeffrey Epstein. Registered sex offender Jeffrey Epstein gave guidance to the Obama administration as how to handle a sex scandal.
Jeffrey Epstein was a man of 1,000 faces. Miss Rumler only saw the one he put on to win people over and gain credibility and acceptance.
Nope. He was a registered sex offender as of 2008. She's doing all this stuff after 2008. These are lies.
Her views were shaped by that and his denials of any wrongdoing other than what he pled guilty to years prior. Miss Rumler has been clear and consistent from the outset. She knew him through her work as a criminal defense attorney, shared a client with him, received referrals from him, and was friendly in that professional context.
She was getting guidance from him on how to do her job better. And she's giving him guidance on how to defeat young girls in court when they were suing him for the abuses.
At times, Epstein sought informal advice, and she provided feedback based on her understanding at the time without any formal involvement. Miss Rumler has deep sympathy for those harmed by Epstein. If she knew then what she knows now, she never would have dealt with him at all.
What do you know now? Everyone knew this in 2008. You were helping him in 2014.
Goldman Sachs chief legal.
So that's the overall breakdown about Kathy Rumler. I got a lot more on this chick. This is former Obama White House counsel and Goldman Sachs Kathy Rumler emailing Epstein about inviting a client over to her house for something. Trust me, it's way below his and your pay grade. This is Kathy Rumler telling him to be negotiating. As Jeffrey Epstein said, this one I negotiate, no limitations. It could be fun. Feel free to invite Ken to my house for Friday or Saturday. You can check with Pritzker or Leon Black, no downside. Oh, yeah. That's not J.B. Pritzker, it's his brother, I think, Tom, who also had to resign because of his name being all over this. This is in 2016, 8 years after he's a registered sex offender. Well, she's working for the White House. Good. There's no chance that Griffin might be interested in a woman. I don't even know. I'll meet with this guy again on Monday or Tuesday and see if I can find out. Okay. Breaking: former Obama White House counsel Kathy Rumler resigns Goldman Sachs. This is Benny Johnson announcing that. She ran to Jeffrey Epstein to tell him, John Brennan gave me a CIA agency medal this morning. How cool is that? That's what she ran to Jeffrey. I got to tell Jeffy about this. I got to tell Uncle Jeff about this. Oh, wow. John Brennan gave me a CIA agency medal. Yeah. That's how close they are. And she's sharing private information because this was done privately, as we're about to see. This CIA medal that she got from John Brennan, she got John Brennan the job. She was the one who was in charge of clearing people for their job to serve in the Obama administration. That was part of her tasks. This is the thread I want to go through here from Mike Benz. A couple interesting notes on the reveal that Obama's White House counsel, top lawyer to the president, Kathy Rumler, emailed Jeffrey Epstein she was awarded the CIA agency medal just hours after getting the award. This was in 2015, 7 years after he's been a registered sex offender. When I saw this, I wondered why I'd never heard of this before. Her CIA agency award in 2015 was not and still has never been reported by any press outlet whatsoever, not even a fringe one. It's not on her Wikipedia. It's not on her extensive current Goldman Sachs bio. I've covered many times, for example, how BlackRock's vice chairman proudly lists his winning the CIA's Director's Award openly on his official BlackRock bio. There it is, Mr. Danilian has received Secretary of State's Distinguished Service and the CIA Director's Award over here. So it's something of prestige to put that out there. Why would she not have it there? The award is a big deal. She was clearly so excited and proud of it. She rushed to tell Jeffrey Epstein mere hours after the CIA Director John Brennan awarded her, and then saw validation from Epstein over it, when she's saying, how cool is that? Like, isn't this cool that I got this? Tell me how cool I am that I got this. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Rumler had already left government and returned to private practice at Latham & Watkins 8 months earlier. When she won the CIA agency medal, she was a private citizen, a civilian. As it turns out, non-CIA civilians can receive the CIA agency medal privately with no public release. If they played a meaningful role in enabling CIA operations, providing critical access, or helping clear high-stakes legal or operational obstacles the CIA faced. It's an internal process for how they classify and but the public-facing structure is there's a nomination, which is usually tied to a specific project or period, and the presentation is private. There's no press release, and it might pop up only years later. The reason the CIA doesn't publicly disclose CIA agency medal winners who are non-CIA civilians is because those winners, as nominal civilians, meaning you don't even know they have anything to do with the CIA, they have no CIA overlap, they may not want the public to know they covertly helped the CIA overcome sensitive legal or political obstacles. So they're like, hey, we're going to give you a little award in private. We're not going to make a big stink about it. Of course, you can't rule out simple cronyism backscratching. It was Rumler who fought to legally block CIA disclosures on Benghazi from Congress to save not yet CIA Director John Brennan's Senate confirmation bid 2 years before Brennan gave her the CIA agency award. So she helped him. She helped Brennan get through his confirmation. When he was looking to get confirmed to be the director of the CIA, she helped hide information from the Senate in order to help him get confirmed. So it's possible that Brennan's like, here's a little thank you award, meaning cronyism. You were nice to me. You took care of me. I'm going to give you this little CIA award. It's possible, he's saying. As he points out here, It was Rumler who decided the House and Senate intelligence panels could review the emails about different drafts of Benghazi talking points without letting them take copies. Worth noting, Kathy Rumler, who fought to make John Brennan the CIA director and then won the CIA agency award, was so close to Epstein. She was the backup executor for Jeffrey Epstein's will. Wow. That's close. She's second in line to handle his will. Rumler called Jeffrey Epstein a wonderful Jeffrey and said, "I adore him," in a December 2015 email exchange, which appears to show Epstein booking and paying for her to have a first-class trip to Europe. But the pure cronyism explanation, meaning that she got this award as a thank you from Brennan, doesn't sit right with me. For one, anyone can get a CIA agency award anytime. It's not a once a year doled out in one batch. Brennan became CIA director in March 2013. He didn't give her the award until 2 years later after she left government. Second, if Brennan had given Rumler the CIA agency medal earlier while she was still in the White House counsel, she could forever after confidently share the honor publicly without needing to hide it, since everyone would presume it related to her official White House legal role. So it's easier for her to take it while she's still working in the White House. Now, it's possible Brennan issued the award while she was White House counsel, but then kept the CIA in custody, until she left government. If political sensitivity is a covert operation, then the award related to were still ongoing. And he cites examples of that. But still, something doesn't sit right. Even if you never announce the CIA agency award to the public, there's still a real benefit to getting one. Privileged inside access, weight and deference, plus more opportunities channeled to you in ongoing future CIA relationships. It helps you out. So whenever Rumler worked when she got the award, wherever she was working, the CIA effectively had their woman in the room for all manner of informal consultation or info sharing. Well, in 2015, when she got it, she was at Latham & Watkins, a central firm in the CIA-led 2016 Russiagate affair. So maybe it's got something to do with that. Maybe. You don't know. So I thought that was a very interesting little breakdown of that. Rich Park saying he sent 4, only 3 went through. Please add 1. Go! Yeah, I'm not going to keep you up at one shy. We're going to cover it. We hit our goal. Well done, Richard Parker. He's mentioned because they were plotting against him. Oh, that's why Trump's all over. Yeah, of course. Of course, that's why. The Bill Maher new rules on that page is a clue. I don't know what you want from me. Okay. I'm just going to try and get to this real fast. Maybe I get you be real, like to just chill on this. This is from the Epstein files. Finally, new rule. Slide of Michelle Bachmann. I know we can't establish a religious test for office, but if you believe we're living in the end of times like Michelle Bachmann does, we get to take away your car keys. Yes, let Jesus take the wheel. If you think the world is about to end, that's your right. But you don't get to vote on next year's budget because it doesn't concern you. Now, this past Saturday, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann announced that President Obama is sending arms to terrorists and said, rather than seeing this as a negative, we need to rejoice. Maranatha, come Lord Jesus, day is at hand. Of course, if Michelle's right and Jesus is on the way back, he'll be the first man she ever saw coming. That's pretty nasty. But she's not the only person in Washington who'd be more comfortable on American Horror Story. In an interview this week, Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia said he believes the devil is a real person who's running around getting people to not believe in God. What can I say? I started to blush. This is his script notes. I don't know when I'm supposed to get this. Here's your Beelzebub thing. Okay. Blush and laugh because reasonable people, you know them, they usually see Michelle Bachmann as a total loon, but Scalia is a serious intellectual. Well, actually, they're an exact same idiot. Scalia says in an interview that he's puzzled that the devil is all over the New Testament, but we don't see him around much anymore. Oh, yeah, back in the day, Satan was like Miley Cyrus's tongue. He was everywhere. But, you know, the devil's not being any more thing. It's not something, the devil not being any more thing, it's not like something that puzzles me. In fact, usually when I hear someone talking like this, it's because I'm dropping change in their cup. But somehow, the lack of Beelzebub sightings positively mystifies the leading legal-minded conservative American Scalia in America. Scalia says, in the Gospels, the devil is doing all sorts of things. He's making pigs run off cliffs. He's possessing people and whatnot. And that doesn't happen very much anymore. I keep waiting for the transcript to say, ha, just effing with you. Pigs running off cliffs. Hey, leave the debt ceiling deniers out of this. I'm going to go a little further on this. And what is Justice Scalia's theory as to why we don't see the devil anymore? Is it the logical answer that fictions like the devil are in the Bible because it was written before the age of science when humans didn't know where the sun was at night? That's not true. They knew exactly where it was. And obviously a reflection of mankind's thinking in his intellectual infancy? Of course not. That makes sense. No, it doesn't. What Scalia said about the devil is he used to be all over the New Testament. What happened to him? He got wilier. Mother effer, of course, wilier. He may be evil, but he's always looking to improve himself. I don't know why you want me to read this. You be real. I'm reading a Bill Maher skit, and I don't know why. What is happening here? I don't know what's happened to this show. I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know what you want from me. All right. I'm done with it. Don't ask me on that anymore. I'm done with it. Her connection to Epstein was known for years, but Democrats dismissed it as a conspiracy. She should have claimed to be his lawyer. But she wasn't actually attorney of record at any point, but that would have been smarter. Here's John Mosley making sure we officially get over it. Thank you so much. Lone Gunman says, I know it's not part of your goal tonight, but I would love to listen to Minnesota AG phone call one night. I appreciate you and what you do. Keep up the good fight. It's a 54-minute thing. It wasn't a phone call, it was a meeting, but still, it's 54 minutes. I don't know. That goal failed. That goal failed. So I don't know what to do with that. I got more on Kathy Rumler for you.
I stand here as an American senator feeling very concerned about the 2026 elections in November. He is telling.
I hear Slotkin. Lord, why I ever have to listen to Slotkin ever again? Doofus. Sorry about that. Kathy Rumler ran Barack Obama's ethics department. That was her job. Vetted his entire cabinet. Here she is talking about her ethics.
I had a team that did vetting and ethics. So our office was responsible for vetting every cabinet member. So, and we had, in our administration, we had quite rigorous standards. And so it would be a big failure if someone turned out to have, not filed their tax returns appropriately.
That would have been embarrassing. But me consulting with a registered sex offender as to how we should run the Obama administration, totally normal.
Or, something.
Such a hypocrite.
Like that. Or, big issue that would come up would be with household help and people not paying taxes on either a nanny or.
That's the scandal. Not her consulting with, is such a slimy bitch.
or, you know, a housekeeper or something like that, or landscaping people, that type of thing. I'm really disheartened by what I think is sort of the devaluing of the office,
devaluing
in
of the office.
some ways almost the debasing of the office of the
This is debasing of the office. She's talking about Trump now.
president, which is something that, you know, I revered.
I revered while I was consulting with Jeffrey Epstein about how Obama should handle his scandals
as White House counsel, and really felt a personal responsibility to sort of protect the.
Oh, you protected it.
Protect the sort of sacrosanctness of it, you know, not in a religious sense, but just in the sense that it's such an important office, and the dignity of it, the dignity and the decency, I would say.
Queen of ethics.
So from that perspective, I've become, I guess, more partisan, at least in my own thinking about it.
Yeah, more partisan. Zero Hedge said now would be a good time to review Epstein's tentacles went all the way to the White House, courtesy of Rumler. Most recently, Utah Representative Jason Chaffetz asked the White House to release documents from Rumler's review of allegations that White House staff were involved in a prostitution scandal that ensnared several Secret Service officers. She was drawn into a controversy of the administration's reactions to the attack on U.S. diplomatic outpost in Benghazi that left Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans dead, as well as the IRS's review of Tea Party political groups. So she was handling these scandals. Okay. And Sean McGuire pointing out, all the reporting about Kathy Rumler resigning, they only talk about the fact that she's from Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs CEO praises her as she steps down, resigning. CNN, Kathy Rumler, Goldman Sachs lawyer, resigning. None of them mentioned that she was working with Epstein. She was working for Obama when she was doing all this crap. The principal deputy White House counsel, and then White House counsel to President Barack Obama. As you see, Aaron Parnas here talking about Kathy Rumler. This is funny.
We have some major news this morning. The fallout over the Epstein files has exploded. People have resigned, lost their jobs, and
this is a crazy lefty, the guy talking here. He's always attacking Trump.
Now criminal charges for a world leader. Here's
all thanks to Donald Trump signing the Epstein Files Transparency Act, Aaron.
What you need to know. In the past literally 10 hours, Catherine Rumler, the former general counsel of Goldman Sachs, stepped down.
Oh, you mean Catherine Rumler, who was principal deputy of the White House counsel to Barack Obama? You mean former advisor Catherine Rumler, who had 50 meetings with Jeffrey Epstein between 2014 and 2019 after he was a convicted offender? Oh, that one, the one that had 50 emails in the files.
In addition,
10 meetings a year. I don't have relatives I met 10 times a year. 10 meetings a year. Maybe my dad. My sister lives next door, so I'll see her more than 10 times a year. 10 meetings a year.
The Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayman.
Oh, wait, you're not going to talk about what I just said?
Remember that the man who was involved with the torture video with Jeffrey Epstein, he has stepped down as the CEO and chairman of the Dubai-based DP World.
Thanks to Donald Trump, right?
Former Norwegian Prime Minister Thorbjørn Jagland has been criminally charged with aggravated corruption.
Oh, and I loved how you left out the fact that Catherine Rumler was a main advisor to Barack Obama. Why don't we tag Aaron in the comments and call him out?
Oh, that was funny, since I wanted to share it with you. Three days before Trump's 2017 inauguration, Epstein emails Catherine Rumler with "The game begins." And in case you're wondering what I was talking about with respect to him giving guidance to Kathy Rumler and how she should fulfill her duties as White House counsel. So who does she turn to? She turns to registered sex offender Jeffrey Epstein for guidance. Ex-Obama official, this is reported by a Daily Caller, ex-Obama official sought Epstein's help amid a report suggesting she covered up White House prostitution scandal. Here she is in the room with Barack. There she is over here. She has such respect for the office. She dresses like a slob when she shows up there. But okay, like, is this how an attorney dresses? What the hell is this? Look how she's dressed here. This is humiliating. Such respect for the office, bitch. Former Obama White House counsel Kathy Rumler turned to Jeffrey Epstein for help. I don't want this. Stop it. Go away. Former Obama White House counsel Kathy Rumler turned to Jeffrey Epstein for help responding to allegations that she helped cover up an AIDS prostitution scandal which emerged while she was under consideration to become Attorney General. Emails released by the DOJ reveal. Rumler, who resigned from her position as Goldman Sachs top lawyer on Thursday over her extensive ties to Epstein, enlisted convicted sex offender in workshopping her response. Hey, Jeff, what do you think? What's the best way for me to approach this? To an October 2014 press inquiry. White House aides, including Rumler, allegedly failed to thoroughly investigate or publicly acknowledge evidence that a prostitute stayed overnight in an advanced team volunteers hotel room during a 2012 Colombia trip. The Washington Post reported on October 8th. Rumler left the White House in May of 2014 and was working in private practice when the story broke. How you doing? Epstein emailed Rumler on October 9th after the story dropped. Doing fine, she replied. Was talking to reporters until late in the morning last night, trying to isolate and contain. Rumler sent Epstein her draft response to an email from Carol, presumably then Washington Post reporter Carol D. Leone, who broke the original report about a second phase of her story. Epstein questioned whether the aide still denied the incident. So Epstein's like, okay, let's do damage control. So does the aide deny the incident? Important point, he wrote, according to emails released by DOJ. Rumler affirmed he did, knowing that she was making some more tweaks. Rumler and the Obama Foundation did not immediately respond to the Daily Caller's News Foundation's request for comment. This is Kathy laying out her problems to Jeffy. Hey, the lawyer letter said it was a prostitute that wrote down the room number. Epstein followed up after Rumler said she was looking at his edits. That's a totally different spin on the story. If it wasn't the hotel clerk who wrote it, i.e., how often do prostitutes lie as to which room they're headed? Rumler said she didn't know. Could have been the prostitute, could have been the hotel clerk. The whole thing is ridiculous. They had to obtain the record under the table because the last thing the Hilton wanted to do is voluntarily give over info implicating the privacy of their guests. Rumler told Epstein, the procedure for checking in prostitutes is hardly rigorous. Later that same day, Kathy forwarded Epstein a letter the aide's attorney sent to the Washington Post reporter urging her not to use his name in future stories. Then Secret Service Director Mark Sullivan reportedly told Rumler on April 20th, 2012, that there was evidence the White House advance team member was part of the broader prostitution scandal involving Secret Service agents and military personnel. And that made Press Secretary Jay Carney tell reporters on April 23 that the review found no indication of any misconduct. As was reported more than 2 years ago, the White House conducted an internal review but didn't identify any inappropriate behavior on the part of the White House advance team. Then White House spokesman Eric Schultz said in response to the Washington Post 2014 story, the White House aide allegedly involved in the prostitution scandal was the son of a wealthy Obama campaign donor. So she's basically brainstorming, and I want to be clear here. It sounds as if this might be after she left the administration. But she was still under consideration to be Obama's new AG when the Washington Post story broke. It was reported that Rumler dropped out of the race on October 24, 2014. I fear she should have pulled out last week, Lawrence Summers, former director of Obama's White House National Economic Council, wrote in October 8th email. I have some ideas, Epstein replied. Call me when you have a moment. We'll have drinks. We'll get together. Summers resigned from the board of OpenAI in November over emails exposing his contact with Epstein up until his arrest in 2019, stating he was deeply ashamed of his actions. As the Harvard University president, Summers, from 2001-2006, also launched an investigation into his relationship with Epstein. My responsibility is to put Goldman Sachs' interests first. That's why I'm going to stay here until June 30th. It's like June 30th is next week? No, it's going to be another 4 months. Rumler said in a statement Thursday about resignation. A staff-wide email announcing resignation stated she would still work with our teams to assist with the transition until June 30th. Goldman Sachs leaders were aware Rumler had business dealings with Epstein when she was hired, according to the Wall Street Journal. Previously reported emails show Rumler consulted Epstein on whether she should take on the role as Obama's AG, sharing in one September 2014 email that she was pretty stuck after signing a year-long lease for an $11,000 a month New York apartment. Epstein purchased numerous $11,000 a month. Jeez. Epstein purchased numerous gifts from Rumler between 2014 and 2019, such as designer bags, electronics, spa days, and more. He sometimes turned to her for legal advice and help responding to media questions. I adore him, Rumler wrote in December 25th, 2015 email. It's like having another older brother who basically has an affinity for touching 12-year-old girls. Sick. That's the woman who's the head of ethics for the Obama administration. The holy, righteous, virtuous Obama administration. That's an office that she reveres and adores, and it bothers her to see someone who doesn't have ethics talk out both sides of her mouth. Sick woman. Sick woman. All right. I was thinking about getting into Bannon, but I'm already almost 2.5 hours in, and I got like a 20-minute video to do because we hit our goal. Let me do a quick check in the ghetto before I start on that, though. Make sure I'm good there. No, it's Dominion After Dark. Radio the stream. Thanks, Dom. Thank you, Dom. I didn't see Duck Fat here tonight. Okay. Wow, you guys are awesome. Before we do this, I just want to show you this. You guys are awesome. I was talking to you earlier about Adrian, a longtime viewer, friend of the show for roughly 4 years.
And also, by the way, the name that is listed the most in these files and talked about the most.
Jeez, I gotta get rid of this guy. Sorry about that. Look at this. Look at this. $1,000. You guys are awesome. That's very cool of you. That's very cool of you. Wow. Awesome. Great job, guys. All right, let me find this video of that. By the way, I only just noticed this now when I was looking, because since Richard Parker's want to share the video with me, he shared with me via DM on X. So I went to my DMs on X and I just noticed this here, which I hadn't looked at my DMs on X since like this morning. And I saw this from Adrian. But she shared this with me. Thank you. I just got out of the hospital yet again. I was watching my phone last night, so I couldn't really get a good look at your stock photos, but I did see the video of the top 100 most powerful figures in the files, picture rates, whatever. But she just got out of the hospital yet again. So you guys are awesome. Amazing. All right. This is the video that Richard Parker shared with me that I want to watch with you.
It's 1980.
It's 20 minutes long. It comes to you from Cappy Army, who has 723,000 subs. So he's doing pretty well. And there's a great breakdown he does here. All right. I'm going to tell you right now up front. He's going to implicate Mossad. He's going to implicate MI6, GRU, everyone. But this is a great breakdown as to just how involved Jeffrey Epstein was with various intelligence agencies across the world and how he built that network. It's really enlightening.
3, the Cold War is still raging, and a little-known 30-year-old financier named Jeffrey Epstein has somehow managed to embed himself inside the largest arms deal in British history.
The biggest arms contract that Britain ever signed.
The intermediaries were demanding payments to be made into Swiss bank accounts. They were demanding flats. They were demanding girls.
Today, I'm going to show you the evidence that Epstein ran illegal arms deals and became an intelligence asset while committing some of history's most horrific sex crimes. Because in the early 1980s, Epstein is working for a man named Douglas Leese, who's a wealthy, well-connected British defense contractor and arms dealer.
So he's working for Leese. He's working with Douglas Leese, who's an arms dealer. Now, he had been at, what's the name of that firm? It wasn't Goldman Sachs. It was a different one. I don't think it was Goldman Sachs. All right, we'll get there.
At the time, the British government is in the middle of negotiating with Saudi Arabia the sale of nearly 100 of their advanced Tornado fighter jets, along with thousands of laser-guided missiles and precision bombs. A lot is at stake with the Al Yamama arms deal because it's set to create 100,000 jobs in the UK, totally reshape the Middle East balance of power, and earn the British defense company BAE Systems $80 billion in revenue.
So England is selling arms to Saudi Arabia through the Al Yamama arms deal.
There's a giant problem. In Saudi Arabia, deals were decided by royal family members and princes. So if you wanted a deal done, you paid these guys enormous bribes. One man's corruption was another man's way of doing business. And that is where Jeffrey Epstein came into the picture. This language and cultural barrier required a new type of global fixer. He allegedly worked with Douglas Leese as one of the key people who helped design the financial structures that hid the bribe money. Douglas Leese was one of the men who allegedly...
So they're bribing the princes of Saudi Arabia to go forward with this deal because the $80 billion and all the jobs it's creating in Great Britain is important to them. So his role working under Douglas Leese is to go in there and set up shell corporations so that these bribes are not going to be detected by any of these governments. So he's setting up these corporations and basically creating the financial structure to enable them to pass these bribes along to the Saudi princes.
bribed the Saudi family and British officials. He was widely believed to be an intelligence asset for MI6. According to accounts from Lee,
So Lease is by most accounts working for MI6. So MI6 wants to help these bribes move forward.
Lisa's son Julian, and from Epstein's former business partner Steven Hoffenberg, Lise mentored Epstein. This is where Epstein learned first how to create shell companies and smuggle weapons and move huge sums of money into offshore accounts. Later investigations by the United States and British government would reveal over $1 billion worth of off-the-books hidden commissions, bribes, and kickbacks, because Saudi Arabia had paid in a mix of oil shipments and cash. It all flowed through offshore accounts, intermediaries, and hidden financial structures that were designed to keep the real money trail invisible. Through Douglas Lease, Epstein.
So what he was really good at was hiding the money trail. This is why no one knows how he made his money. This explains why. And if you're an arms dealer, you're taking bribes and kickbacks for the bribes. You bribe someone, they kick money back to you. This helps explain how it is that this guy becomes a billionaire from being nothing.
Epstein was introduced to the highly profitable Cold War world of illegal arms deals and financial networks that concealed them. Supporting evidence for Epstein's alleged involvement in this arms deal comes from the FBI's 2019 raid of his New York City apartment. In it, they confiscated a fake Austrian passport from the 1980s that showed a younger Epstein under a totally different name.
He had a different Austrian passport with a different name. That's what they found when they raided his place in New York.
Entrance and exit stamps on the fake passport showed evidence that it was used in the early 1980s to travel between France, Spain, the United Kingdom, and Saudi Arabia. The most damning piece of evidence is that the times the passport was used to travel match with those that were used to facilitate the Al Yamama arms deal. Austria, especially Vienna, has been one of the world's biggest intelligence hubs since the Cold War. But where did Epstein get a fake Austrian passport from in the 1980s? Intelligence analyst Thomas Hampson said, quote,
because at that time, he's not so wealthy, right? In the early 80s, before these deals are all happening, he doesn't have the money for this. Where is he getting all that stuff from, right? You have to think about that. Like, he's developing his money here, but to create a fake passport that's going to work and not get you thrown in jail, that's got to be a really good fake passport. And his friend here is saying, I can't imagine Epstein getting a fake passport or using one.
Can't imagine Epstein getting a fake passport or using one without official government backing and cover. Intelligence services made counterfeit passports. In those days, some organized crime groups could have managed that as well, but it's unlikely that they were involved. Evidence that his close associate Douglas Lease was connected.
So the best explanation for how he got this passport is MI6. Right, he's working to help the Brits get this deal through with the Saudi princes. So it's likely that Great Britain helped him create this British passport, and that perhaps he even at this point had CIA backing. That MI6 went to CIA, so this way he wouldn't get in trouble domestically, based on his friends saying that he wouldn't do it if he was risking going to jail.
To intelligence agencies comes from a filing in U.S. courts years later that states, quote, the nature and extent of Lease's activities and his various contacts around the world involve highly sensitive and confidential information, some of which are believed to be classified by the Department of Defense. Why would intelligence agencies create a passport for Epstein to help him with this arms deal? MI6 and CIA wanted the arms deal to go through because it would help contain Soviet influence. It would give Saudi Arabia air dominance against.
So America wants this deal to go through also because they want to help Saudi Arabia fend off Russia. This is the early 80s. The Cold War is still very hot at this point.
Against Iran, and it would help stabilize global oil markets, keeping Saudi Arabia tightly tied to Western bloc of influence, which was critical. The arms deal would lock Saudi Arabia into the Western security ecosystem for many decades to come. Epstein appeared to be one of Douglas Lease's fixers on the ground inside Saudi Arabia, helping facilitate this arms deal. Diplomatic cables leaked years later, which show that Epstein's close associate, Prince Andrew, criticized the corruption investigation into the Al Yamama arms deal. Prince Andrew tried to get any audit of the deal shut down while he was the UK's special representative for international trade and investments. Epstein.
So he had that role, and he's trying to get the whole thing shut down. So he's cementing a relationship with Epstein at this point.
Functioned like he was a useful tool through which Douglas Lease could add one more layer of plausible deniability to his allegedly illegal dealings. But that doesn't even scratch the surface, because Epstein's about to get involved in Iran-Contra and become an intelligence asset. We'll analyze this with today's sponsor, Ground News. Here we see there's new...
All right, so we're going to get past the Ground News part.
The Treasury on banking policy at Epstein's suggestion. Ground News allows me to see the quick facts. It shows me the bias of each source and rating of how factual it is. So I stick with resources that are only high in factuality. I use Ground News to research this episode because especially when you're looking into corruption, scandals, and government officials, you need to be able to check where each media source gets their actual funding from. Some sources have in the past been revealed to be arms of intelligence agencies. We appreciate Ground News sponsoring the production work in this video. They're giving you 40% off the same Vantage plan that I use here. Just click the link in the description to go to ground.news/Cappy or scan the QR code to get a better understanding of how our shadowy world works. Douglas Lease became Epstein's first major client at his consulting firm called International Assets Group. It was Lease who introduced Epstein to Adnan Khashoggi, the billionaire Turkish-born Saudi arms dealer who stood...
So, okay, so now he's basically, God of War, working with God of War and on Khashoggi.
At the center of the Al Yamama deal. By 1987, Epstein had become Khashoggi's personal money manager, giving him direct access to one of the most powerful weapons brokers on the planet. A source who spoke with journalist Vicky Ward confirmed that Khashoggi was one of Epstein's clients, and this connection opened the door to a much darker world. Khashoggi was the prototype of the modern black market arms broker, a man who knew how to move weapons, money, and influence across borders without leaving any fingerprints. By the 1980s, that underground system had grown into a parallel global economy. United Nations investigations and data from the Small Arms Survey show that illicit arms trafficking was generating up to $10 billion a year during the late Cold War. Proxy wars in Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East and Asia were fueled by this shadow network of dealers, financiers, and fixers operating beyond the reach of any single government. Weapons passed through shell companies in Panama and airlines that were fronts for intelligence agencies, all to hide and obfuscate their true origin.
So when they're doing these illegal arms deals, they're basically moving the money through shell corporations, and presumably Jeffrey Epstein was involved in helping create a complicated web so no one would know where this money was going and coming from. And when you're doing a web like that, obviously, you're helping people create a web like that, obviously you're getting very handsomely rewarded. You're not getting $30,000 for doing that. He's getting multi-million-dollar kickbacks almost assuredly for helping create basically a financial web to help insulate the arms trading deals.
Complicated network required global power brokers and middlemen to handle and manage it. There was nothing new about profiting from war, but for the first time in history, it had to be done in a way that gave global governments complete plausible deniability.
And that's the thing, is all these governments wanted these deals to go through, but they couldn't convince. You would have an intelligence agency from Great Britain or America which wants to get something deal, but it's not sanctioned by their local parliament or Congress. So they sort of are working behind the scene, covertly behind their own governments to get these deals to go through because they feel like it's in the best interests of America. So this could be under Reagan. This could be under, that's where you have the whole Iran-Contra scandal. All of these things that are going on, he's getting fat and rich from this and building a network of power brokers who are all knowing him and working together with him. So in addition to having the wealth and now he becomes part of the elites, he's also connected politically and in the intelligence world. So he pretty much has the sanctions of all these governments to do this. Not from the official government. So the official government stance is, oh, we don't know anything about this, but the intelligence agencies here know about it. So we're talking about at this point MI6 and CIA. We're going to see soon that Mossad's going to get involved too.
This meant using middlemen with loose morals and allegiances like Khashoggi, Lease, and Epstein. At the same time, Khashoggi was one of the main brokers behind the Iran-Contra arms deal. Arranged through back channels inside the US government, the operation shipped more than 2,000 TOW anti-tank missiles, around 500 Hawk surface-to-air missiles, and roughly 200 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles to Iran, all in violation of US law. The deal was worth about $140 million in today's money, and that cash was routed through foreign accounts and offshore networks, then redirected to fund the Contra rebels fighting in Nicaragua. And according to Stephen Hoffenberg, he alleged that Jeffrey Epstein was part of the financial side of this weapons dealing system. He allegedly helped Khashoggi move, structure, and hide his commissions from these arms deals using shell companies and overseas accounts. This claim of Epstein's involvement in arms deals is also made by Ari Ben Menashe, who is a former Israeli intelligence officer who stated that Epstein was selling US weapon systems from Israel directly to Iran as part of another covert arms deal that was separate from Iran-Contra. But global black market arms sales rose to over $20 billion annually by the 1990s. During the peak Cold War years, covert arms pipelines supplied conflicts in Afghanistan, Angola, Lebanon, Cambodia, and Iran simultaneously, and that's just scratching the surface. And the world's governments looked the other way because it was useful to them. Epstein's business partner, Khashoggi, was a principal foreign agent of the United States. He established the intelligence partnership between multiple nations known as the Safari Club. The Safari Club was a covert alliance of intelligence services from Iran, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, France, the United States, and Israel.
And this is just an astonishing thing to see this mix here, right? You know, Israel and Iran, and Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Morocco. This is just like, I don't even know what, I don't even understand anything about this. I don't understand anything about this. I've heard references to the Safari Club, but you know, this was basically like a meeting ground in Kenya for them to sit and plot how to move arms around the world in order to assert influence.
It ran clandestine operations around Africa and the world during the 70s and early 80s. The Safari Club was one of the ways that the CIA supported arms deals and its proxy networks. Cartels, criminals, terrorists, and intelligence services used the same bank to launder their illicit funds for their operations, called the Bank Credit Commerce International. It was in this shadowy world of arms deals, fraud, and offshore accounts that Epstein allegedly became an expert and made himself indispensable. According to the New York Times, Jeffrey Epstein rented a penthouse office at the Hotel St. Martin's on Central Park South with John Stanley Pottenberg.
Now, I'm just going to point out, in this document, they reference him as John C. Pottinger, and he keeps calling him Pottenberg. I don't know why that is. I don't know why you keep calling him Pottenberg. It's Pottinger. Pottenberg sounds very Jewish. Pottinger doesn't. I don't know what's happening here, but every time he says it's Pottenberg, I was like, why you keep saying like that? Why you keep saying like that?
Accounts that Epstein allegedly...
I don't know if the guy's Jewish or not, but like, it doesn't sound Jewish to me.
Became an expert and made himself indispensable. According to the New York Times, Jeffrey Epstein rented a penthouse office.
See, it says Pottinger's brother, John Stanley Pottinger. What the heck is that? Why? It's Pottenstein. What is that? What is that? I was just like, I don't know what I'm hearing here. He's going to keep saying Pottenberg the entire time. He never corrects that.
At the Hotel St. Martin's on Central Park South with John Stanley Pottenberg. Pottenberg was a lawyer who had recently left a senior post in the Justice Department in the United States. Under the CIA's direction, Pottenberg then advised a banker from Iran on how to ship embargoed arms to Iran using fraudulent paperwork. They used overseas dummy companies, basically. But this was at the same time when he was working with Jeffrey Epstein on these so-called tax avoidance strategies. We know from later disclosures that British intelligence, MI6, and the American CIA were deeply involved in these arms deals.
So you got MI6 and CIA basically working together at this point.
Israeli intelligence helped the Iran-Contra deal go through, according to U.S. government internal investigation.
An active role in encouraging U.S. to enter into the Iran-Contra. So they induced America to doing it. Okay. I don't understand why Israel would be helping Iran. None of this part makes sense to me, but I don't know. It could be that it's the same way we have our CIA. It could be that they have a similar thing with Mossad. I don't know.
Documents. What all this means is that during this time, Epstein showed himself to be a reliable asset who had no morals, which is what these ruthless intelligence agencies look for. According to testimony given by Stephen Hoffenberg, a former close associate and business partner, Jeffrey Epstein was also helping Douglas Lease with the sale of Chinese weapons to Iran through the Chinese Communist state-owned defense company Norinco. We know that during the 1980s, China supplied HY-2 Silkworm anti-ship cruise missiles to Iran and signed weapons agreements worth over $4.8 billion with Iran. If Epstein was making millions of dollars in commissions from these arms deals and hiding this money, it would go a long way in explaining where his fortune came from. It didn't seem like he had any value system, really. He didn't operate in the interest of any one country during this time. He facilitated these deals to enrich himself and to gain further power and to make himself untouchable. It was Jeffrey Epstein who created the financial network to enable these illicit arms deals to go through. This meant Epstein saw himself as outside the law, not accountable to anyone. And it was around this time in the mid-1980s that Epstein started bragging to people close to him that he worked for intelligence agencies and that he was untouchable. Intelligence officers are someone who are directly trained, employed, and work for a country's interests. An intelligence agent, on the other hand, is the definition of someone who secretly works for an intelligence service by providing information or carrying out tasks under a handler's direction. Epstein was an asset.
And he's an asset, apparently, of multiple intelligence agencies.
Who's someone who provides value to an intelligence service with information, access, or services. That would have afforded Epstein incredible protection.
It would explain his relationship with Ehud Barak, who was part of Mossad. It would explain that.
With authorities looking the other way at some of his horrific crimes that he's about to commit.
It explains how he came to know Prince Andrew.
Access agents are often people in high-end society, or people who have links to top scientific researchers, bankers, politicians, and cultural talents. Jeffrey surrounded himself by all of these. Thomas Hampson, an intelligence analyst, said, quote, "Consider this, Christopher Steele's network of influential contacts, including high-level intelligence contacts, paled in comparison to Epstein's. If our FBI was willing to pay Steele $1 million, imagine what they would be willing to pay Epstein to use his unique skills and extensive contacts on behalf of the United States." According to Ari Ben-Menashe, a former Israeli intelligence officer, he made the shocking claim that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were running a honey trap operation to blackmail global elites for Mossad. Now, how would they have become involved in such an operation? Epstein met the Lease family right after he left Bear Stearns in New York City in 1981. According to a New York Times investigation, the two hit it off, and Douglas took an immediate liking to Epstein. These were the kind of people who sipped 20-year-old scotch while casually debating whether Aspen or Gstaad had the better snow that season. The two would later have a falling out, and Epstein would go on to publicly downplay and deny how close his relationship really was with him. But the 2026 Epstein file release tells a different story now. It reveals multiple emails in which Epstein discussed Lease, contacted his son Julian Lease directly, and stayed in touch with people in Lease's circle for years. Through Epstein's connections with Douglas Lease, he was introduced to Ghislaine Maxwell and met her father, Robert Maxwell. Maxwell is widely believed to have had contacts in the Mossad, MI6, and Soviet KGB intelligence agencies. Another one of these high-level fixers for the very elite. After Robert Maxwell's mysterious death, his daughter became Epstein's second in command, essentially. The earliest known instance of them recruiting an underage girl was in 1994. At the same time, hidden surveillance cameras.
And that thing in 1994, and this part I don't like how he gloms over this. What he's known to have done in 1994, because he was just talking about a honeypot operation. And look, I don't know anything about that until I heard him say it. So I heard him together with you. 1994, we know he was doing his Floridian private massage scam, and he was doing that from 94 all the way through probably for the next like 14 years until he was arrested. So that's when he was getting his multiple massages a day from underage girls, and the scandal that turns everyone's stomach, improperly so. So he sort of gloms together that he's getting these underage girls in 1994. Honeypot operations normally don't involve underage girls. So I don't know if he's trying to say that there were underage girls here. So I agree. There's two different factors here, right? You have the underage girls, which is his own private stuff. And then you have his alleged honeypot thing. And I don't know if he's trying to say that the underage girls are involved in the honeypot thing or not. But there's definitely an implication. He says it so quickly that it sounds like that's what he's saying. But the only thing we know about 94 certainly is his private use. And I'm not trying to give a pass to any of this activity at all. It turns my stomach. I'm simply saying the nature of what these underage girls were being used for is something that I still think is whether extended beyond his own personal affectation or whether it was something that he was using to try and blackmail people is something that I think is still completely unknown.
Cameras were installed throughout his properties. Sexual entrapment has been a standard intelligence tool for over a century. The Soviet system perfected this and called it compromat, or compromising material. The CIA conducted similar operations, drugging men with prostitutes to see what kind of drug and blackmail tactics would work best to extract confidential information in Operation Midnight Climax.
I want to be clear, if any of these agencies were involved in using children for this compromat or a similar type of thing for CIA, MI6, or Mossad, they should be excoriated, and these people should be sent, and whoever was running these operations should be lined up in front of a firing squad and killed. It's disgusting. I just think that it sounds like he's taking from here, this batch of information and that batch of information and linking them in ways that I don't know how he's linking them. And most of what he's putting here is well sourced. I'm just saying you have to sort of think about what is he reading here and what's he reading there, and then do they necessarily compute as far as being part of the same thing? Meaning he's meeting with Michael Jackson. I don't think Michael Jackson's part of there's pictures of him doing that. We don't assume Michael Jackson's part of this whole compromise thing, right? I don't think the guy even knows never knew how anything functioned. But that's my point here.
Multiple victims testified that Epstein recruited underage girls and instructed them to bring friends, creating a recruitment pipeline. Victims, including Virginia Guffrey, stated under oath that they were trafficked to wealthy and powerful men, including.
So this is the part which I don't think there's much evidence for, because we never hear the name of a single wealthy individual. We don't get a first now. I mean, we never hear anything like that.
Politicians, royalty, and businessmen.
Other than Prince Andrew.
Victims said Epstein kept records, photos, and personal details which they believed were used for control and intimidation. Then, in 2007, it appeared like Epstein was about to actually face accountability for his crimes for the first time. He's arrested in Florida and charged with soliciting prostitution with a minor. However, something shocking happens. He receives an insanely light slap on the wrist for his crimes. The trial resulted in the most lenient sentence that a serial sex criminal has ever received, just 18 months of work release. The prosecution entered into a secret non-prosecution agreement with Epstein. According to a Daily Beast article, Alex Acosta, who was the former U.S. attorney who prosecuted the case, Acosta was later asked why this light plea deal happened. And he said, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence."
And that almost certainly happened. That has to be what happened.
And was above his pay grade and to.
And you can see based on his entire video that he was part of intelligence.
back off. This statement was not on the record officially, and he would later deny in 2025 ever making it. Acosta lost his job as U.S. Secretary of Labor mainly because of the widespread criticism of how he handled Epstein's prosecution. If this sounds like a crazy conspiracy, it shouldn't, because it actually fits a long pattern in U.S. history, where people tied to intelligence operations are shielded from prosecution. Whitey Bulger was an FBI asset protected for decades despite committing murders and extortion. Barry Seal moved tons of cocaine for cartels while working with U.S. agencies and repeatedly avoided serious prison time. Mark Rich evaded prosecution for massive financial crimes and was ultimately pardoned by the president at the time because of his geopolitical connections. But another pattern
by Clinton,
as we'll see, is that no one is able to outlive their usefulness, and when they become liabilities, they often end up dead or missing. Epstein's ties to intelligence communities continued after his prosecution even. Since 2003, Epstein had become close friends with Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel and former head of Israel's military intelligence directorate. The 2026 Epstein file dump revealed a confidential human source to the FBI, claiming they had become convinced that Epstein was spying for the Mossad. However, tips to the FBI do not require any official proof, and notes on the file claim that the FBI did not independently verify the information. What we are left with then is evidence of Jeffrey Epstein donating.
That's the question. Did not or could not? Like they didn't bother? That would be bothersome. They didn't bother looking into it. Could not is different. That means they tried and they couldn't find any corroboration for it.
Money to various organizations in Israel. He also helped negotiate security agreements from Israel to West African nations. His connection with intelligence agencies around the world reveal a shocking look at how he operated outside the law. The ties also extend to Russian intelligence services. In a 2014 email exchange between Epstein and Sergei Belikov, Russia's deputy minister of economic development, Belikov was a trained FSB spy. Epstein emailed Belikov asking advice on how to deal with a Russian escort who was attempting to blackmail one of his business friends. Belikov said he'd look into the woman, and he writes back with a full dossier report on who she is, determining that she, quote, has no one behind her.
This is just an astonishing level of connection. I mean, he's got connections to GRU, Mossad, MI6, CIA. I mean, this guy was so connected. So connected.
That she's not connected to anyone powerful in Russia. Epstein then writes himself a draft email on how he's going to respond to the woman, and he says he consulted some friends in the FSB who said that she would be considered an enemy of the people and dealt with extremely harshly if she continued to threaten U.S. businessmen and jeopardize potential investments in Russia's economy. Belikov helped Epstein secure visas to visit Russia and told him about his work in the Russian government. After essentially getting away with horrific sex crimes, Epstein became emboldened and started doing interviews with the press, claiming that he was influencing foreign affairs in multiple countries and that he'd made a fortune off arms deals and diamonds. In his last known interview with the New York Times reporter in 2018, he even said flat out that he had dirt on very powerful people. A year later, authorities claim that they found him dead in his prison cell in New York.
I want to read that paragraph.
Affairs in multiple countries and that he'd made a fortune off arms deals and diamonds. In his last known interview with the New York Times reporter in 2018, he even said,
Mr. Epstein then meandered into a discussion of other prominent names in technology circles. He said people in Silicon Valley had a reputation for being geeky workaholics, but that was far from the truth. They were hedonistic and regular users of recreational drugs. He said he witnessed prominent tech figures taking drugs and arranging for sex. Mr. Epstein stressed that he never drank or used drugs of any kind.
Flat out that he had dirt on very powerful people. A year later, authorities claim that they found him dead in his prison cell in New York City. Out of the new 2026 Epstein files, we learned that Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers filed Freedom of Information Act requests to the National Security Agency and the CIA, asking for any proof that they might have that Epstein was an intelligence asset. They were searching for anything that they could use as proof to help them in their defense. And this is what the CIA sent in return to Epstein's attorneys. It says, we search for CIA-originated responsive records that might reflect any open or otherwise acknowledged agency affiliation. With respect to responsive records that would reveal a classified connection to the CIA can neither confirm nor deny the existence or non-existence of records responsive to your request.
Why is that? What does that mean? Why can you neither confirm nor deny? Because with military secrets, national security and defense secrets.
Another attempt in 2014 reached a similar outcome. What the Epstein files ultimately showed us is that there is an entire hidden system that services the demand for illicit weapons and intelligence. It confirmed our worst suspicions that this system protects the powerful, no matter how destructive they might become. Check out this video on the history of US Black Ops inside China.
So I thought that was a really, really good breakdown. Like I said, I had some questions with some of his leaps there. But for the most part, I felt like I learned a lot from that video. Like, I think there's almost no doubt that much of the monies that he made was not from being an investor, but from helping move money around in deals that were considered illegal, but supported by dark intelligence agencies. That's what I basically took from this, and that he almost certainly had ties to all of these intelligence agencies. So there you go. I thank you, Richard Parker, for bringing that to my attention. Try to search for Warlock Whoops Aladdin's Codes. I'm not searching. I'm not. I'm so tired of searching through this thing. I'm not searching. I'm not. I'm not. Do we know what beef jerky is actually referring to, or did you already cover that? What? I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what's happening. This has been a weird night. It's been a weird night. I think it's time for me to start landing my plane. I mean, that's what I'm feeling like. It's time to start landing. It is. I'm feeling tired. We're more than 3 hours in. I'm going to ask you, please drop a like if you have not yet done that. Subscribe, all that other great stuff. If you made it this far, you probably should hit the like. Right? And, yeah. Lab meat was never meant for you. It's meant for they, them. Definitely don't want to be part of they, them. Trust me. Whatever it is that you get out of it, it's not worth it. And do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. Don't eat the bugs. Have a good night, you all. See you all tomorrow, God willing. Till then, have a great day and Godspeed.